Chapter 277. In the depths of the secret realm, inside the cave. The entrance to the underground cave wasn't very long. It took him less than 20 minutes to walk. As the space suddenly became more spacious and bright, Howard found himself in an endless underground cave, hiding behind an inverted stone pillar in a flash. Howard carefully observed the environment in front of him with the help of the stone pillar's edge. After careful observation, Howard found that there were a total of 36 stone pillars of the same shape, size, and height. As for the depths of the cave, he couldn't see clearly due to the light. However, Howard had a feeling that there should be more stone pillars of the same type in the depths of the cave. He just didn't know how many stone pillars there were. In front of the 25th stone pillar, Zhao Zong, who had entered the underground cave in advance, was looking at the map in his hand with the help of the light from the luminous stone. It's exactly the same. The markings on the map are exactly the same as the environment of the underground cave. Could it be that the senior martial brothers and martial uncles of the sect master's faction had entered the underground cave before? Otherwise, how would they know the environment here? Zhao Zong muttered to himself as he looked at the map and the environment in reality. Perhaps he had considered that he was the only one in the entire underground cave, so Zhao Zong didn't lower his voice when he muttered to himself. Howard, who was hiding behind the first stone pillar, heard everything clearly. When he heard that the map that the sect master had given to Zhao Zong had the exact same environment as the underground cave, Howard also felt extremely shocked and puzzled. If it was said that the disciples of the sect master's faction had entered the underground cave and safely left the secret realm after the Blue Moon secret realm opened a few times before, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. Not to mention the tens of thousands of miles needed to travel from the spirit vein to this forest. It would take at least 3 to 4 days of continuous travel just by relying on movement techniques. Thinking of the disciples who entered the secret realm for training, who would waste 3 to 4 days of time to travel for the sake of elixirs and opportunities that could increase their cultivation and strength. Furthermore, from the spirit vein to the underground cave, they would have to pass through at least 13 strange beasts with the strength of a martial king, similar to the giant white wolf and the purple golden condor. Among the previous disciples, Howard was not boasting or being arrogant. There was probably not a single disciple who could surpass him in terms of true strength. Even for him, it was impossible for him to travel tens of thousands of kilometers by himself, passing through the territories of 13 terrifying exotic beasts and arriving at this underground cave, let alone drawing a detailed map of the underground cave. For Zhao Ji to possess the map of the underground cave, it could only mean one thing. He definitely had some records regarding the Blue Moon secret realm. Moreover, it was very likely that these records described the various secrets of the demon sealing secret realm in detail. Thinking of this, the thought of having a conflict with Zhao Ji sooner or later because of Zhao's sinew became even stronger. According to the markings on the map, the 100-year spirit milk is in the 72nd stone pillar, and a magical item nurtured by heaven and earth is in the 108th stone pillar. After carefully looking at the map in his hand again, Zhao Zong put away the map and looked at the stone pillar in front of him, muttering to himself. Afterwards, he identified the direction and continued to go deeper into the cave. After waiting for Zhao Zong to leave his sight, Howard walked out from behind the stone pillar and quickened his pace to follow. Something's not right. After passing by the 20th inverted stone pillar and seeing that there were still dozens of identical stone pillars in front of him, but the distance between them was somewhat different, Fowling in his sea of consciousness suddenly exclaimed. I also discovered that something's not right. Nodding his head, Howard agreed with Fowling's conjecture just now. Excluding the 36 stone pillars that he saw at the beginning, and then combining the dozens of stone pillars that had just appeared in his line of sight, as well as the 108 stone pillars in the underground cave that Zhao Zong had just muttered to himself, the name of a formation that belonged to the forbidden path surfaced in Howard's mind. Seal the heavens and lock the earth. Slaughter the heavens and destroy the earth. Howard and Fowling said the name of a formation at the same time. Just as I thought. After hearing Thaling say the name of the sealing heaven and locking earth formation, Yuhauran nodded his head solemnly. In fact, the sealing heaven and locking earth formation and the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation were the same kind of formation, just different names in different times. But whether it was the sealing heaven and locking earth formation or the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation, whether it was in ancient times or now, they belonged to the forbidden formation. They were evil formations that were absolutely not allowed to be set up. Yuhauran, it seems that what Zhao Zong said back then was true. There is indeed a congenital magic weapon that was born in the underground cave. Seeing that Yuhauran had also seen the secret of the underground cave, Thaling said in a complicated tone. However, this magic weapon was not born from heaven and earth. Instead, it used the sealing heaven and locking earth formation to intercept the fate of all living beings and gather the origin of a realm to nurture a magic weapon that contains the power of precepts. Its grade could possibly reach the peak of the Emperor level, or even the level of a divine weapon. Nodding his head, Yuhauran could not help but recall that when he was exploring a relic in his previous life, he had seen the power of the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation, as well as the various strange effects that would occur naturally after the formation was set up. Thaling, see if the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation has any effect on the power of divine telekinesis. Shaking his head, Yuhauran chased the terrifying memory of the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation out of his mind and reminded Thaling. There is no trace of the secret realm's precepts in the underground cave. My divine telekinesis can be used freely. After hearing Yuhauran's reminder, Thaling extended his divine telekinesis while using it to sense the precepts of the secret realm's precepts in the cave. The result was not out of Thaling's expectations. After all, after guessing that the sealing heaven and locking earth formation was set up in the underground cave, he knew that the precepts of the demon sealing secret realm were unable to affect the environment inside the formation. If that's the case, then help me determine the location of the 100-year spiritual milk. Is it as Zhao Zong said, in the 72nd stone pillar? After confirming that Thaling could use his divine telekinesis freely, Yuhauran secretly heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he had also decided to give up on the magic weapon that the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation nurtured in the cave and only take the 100-year spiritual milk. After all, the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation was too terrifying. Although he had not seen or experienced the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation in his previous life, there were detailed records of the slaughtering heaven and destroying earth formation, whether it was in the relics or in the sutra collection pavilions of the major sections. Therefore, he, who insisted on acting according to his ability, could only temporarily give up on the magic weapon. That's right, the 100-year spiritual milk is indeed in the 72nd stone pillar, and Zhao Zong has already begun to collect it. Thaling's divine telekinesis swept past and quickly discovered the situation in front of him. But then, his tone changed, and he could not help but say to Yuhauran, "Yuhauran, hurry! Hurry up and leave this place." Without any hesitation, Yuhauran turned around and rushed to the entrance of the cave as he asked quickly, "Thaling, what happened?" The magic weapon nurtured by the sealing heaven and locking earth formation has already developed a bloodthirsty and violent spiritual intelligence. Moreover, it is now in a state of awakening. After quickly telling Yuhauran what he had just discovered, Thaling directly used his divine telekinesis to help Yuhauran increase his speed. Chapter 278. In the depths of the secret territory, in the underground cave. Oh no, the heaven-locking taboo formation has begun to operate on its own. Seeing that Yuhauran was still unable to get close to the entrance of the cave, even after increasing his speed by tens of times, Thaling, who had some knowledge of formations, said with a dejected expression. Motioning for Thaling to withdraw the power of divine sense that helped increase his speed, Yuhauran directly turned around and rushed into the depths of the underground cave. "Yuhauran, what are you trying to do?" Thowling was very puzzled by the fact that he did not hurry to find a way to escape from the underground cave and instead took the risk to enter the depths of the heaven-locking taboo formation. Thowling, in my previous life, I once saw a record of the heaven-locking taboo formation in a relic from an unknown era. Although it did not record how to break this formation, it did record how to stop the formation from operating. Howren quickly explained as he rushed into the depths of the underground cave. Hearing that Howren actually had a way to stop the heaven-locking taboo formation, Thowling asked in surprise, "How do you stop it?" "Destroy the artifact spirit of the formation eye," Howren replied, full of murderous intent. "Howren, why are you here?" Zhao Zong, who was ecstatically collecting the 100-year spirit milk, saw Howren quickly rushing over and asked nervously while holding the 3 elixir bottles filled with 100-year spirit milk in his hands. Unfortunately, Howren did not even look at him and directly rushed past him to the deepest part of the cave, which was also the location of the formation where the artifact was. Seeing that Howren directly rushed to the deepest part of the cave, Zhao Zong suddenly thought of the artifact in the 108 stone pillars, and his expression changed. "Howren, that artifact belongs to the sect leader." At this moment, he seemed to have forgotten the difference in strength between himself and Howren. He didn't continue to collect the 100 years spiritual milk from the 72nd stone pillar and hurriedly chased after Howren. "Tower Spirit, if we can leave the heaven-sealing forbidden formation today, you must help me collect a portion of peak 5th Order monkeys or ape-type exotic beast blood essence." Looking at the 108th stone pillar from afar, Howren suggested to Thowling while activating the last drop of Vajra monkey's blood essence in his body. "Howren, if you can kill the artifact spirit and leave the forbidden formation, let alone the blood essence of a peak rank 5 exotic beast, I'll even find a way to get you 100 drops of blood essence of a peak rank 4 exotic beast." While replying to Howren's suggestion, Thowling was also thinking about how to protect Howren's life if he failed to kill the artifact spirit. Although his main body, the victor, wasn't afraid of the heaven-sealing and earth-locking formation, nor was it afraid of the artifact's attacks. The heaven-sealing and earth-locking formation could completely shut off the laws of the demon-sealing secret realm. In other words, even if Howren hid inside the victor, he wouldn't be sent out of the secret realm when it closed. Although the victor was rich in spiritual chi, it wasn't suitable for Howren's survival and growth. Hiding inside the victor wasn't a viable solution. After thinking about it, it seemed like the only way was to kill the artifact's spirit. Ignoring the backlash from the transformation's secret technique, Howren directly activated the Vajra monkey's blood essence in his acupoints and took out the do as I wish rod. He didn't need to restrict the blood essence and could freely activate it, so the transformation process was very fast. When he passed by the 99th inverted stone pillar, he had already transformed into a giant monkey with a height of 69 meters and an aura at the peak of the 9th stage of the 5th stage. Howren did not roar angrily, nor did he beat his chest out of habit. Instead, he directly swung the what I wish staff in his hand and smashed it viciously at the ancient bronze bell in the 108th stone pillar. Perhaps sensing the arrival of danger, the bronze bell's artifact spirit, which was slowly awakening, accelerated its awakening while activating the bronze bell's own defenses. A faint green light rose from the inside of the bronze bell and completely enveloped the entire bronze bell. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening roar, Howren, who had transformed into a giant monkey, was directly forced back 3 steps by the powerful backlash. The green light that enveloped the bronze bell was also directly dispersed by the dew, as I wish rod, revealing the simple bronze bell. However, although the roar was very powerful and the sound waves formed a force that directly blew Zhao Zong, who had just rushed away, the 107 stone pillars around him didn't move at all. Shaking his slightly numb wrist, Howren's monkey face showed a trace of joy, because through the attack just now, he found that the bronze bell was not, as the Thowling had guessed, a magic artifact at the peak of the Emperor level that was about to become a divine artifact. The bronze bell was only an early-stage Emperor-level magic artifact, but for some reason, its grade had fallen to the venerable level. And for a magic artifact of this level, with the strength of a peak 9th stage martial emperor and the strength of the dew, as I wish rod, it was not impossible to break through its defenses. Behind you, Howren, Zhao Zong, who had been directly blown dozens of meters away by the aftermath of the impact and then fell to the ground in a free manner, finally came to his senses. After seeing that he had transformed into a 59-meter giant monkey, Zhao Zong's face became very pale. At this moment, he finally remembered who Yu Howren was and also remembered that Yu Howren had the means to transform. Therefore, enduring the pain from his body, Zhao Zong turned to leave but was confused by Yu Howren's next move. Because Yu Howren, who had transformed into a giant monkey, waved the golden rod in his hand and directly smashed it at the ancient bronze bell in the 108-stone pillar. Wasn't that bronze bell a magic artifact born by the heavens and earth? Why didn't Yu Howren use the strength of his transformation to directly take the bronze bell, instead of attacking it with all his might? However, this confusion did not bother Zhao Zong for long, because when the bronze bell emitted a green light for the third time, an incomparably evil aura slowly rose from the inside of the bronze bell. Under the influence of that evil aura, Zhao Zong felt as if he had fallen into an endless hell, surrounded by ferocious monsters. Yu Howren, although the artifact spirit of the bronze bell has been completely awakened, he has not fully grasped and familiarized himself with the power of the bronze bell. Take this opportunity to directly attack the weak point of the bronze bell's defense. Just as Yu Howren attacked for the first time, Thowling ignored the danger and directly used his divine thought to directly penetrate into the bronze bell. First, he wanted to find a weak point of the bronze bell's defense, and second, he wanted to check the situation of the bronze bell's artifact spirit. After checking with his divine thought, Thowling also realized that he had misjudged at the beginning. Not only did he not care about this, but he was also very happy. Because of this misjudgment, it meant that Yu Howren had a greater chance of survival. Therefore, under the investigation of his huge divine thought, he finally found a weak point of defense at the top of the bronze bell. Chapter 279. In the depths of the secret territory, in the underground cave. Skyward Strike. After activating the power of what I want multiple times, it was as if the battle instinct of what I want had been activated. A trace of battle intent that belonged to the monkey emperor of the near ancient era suddenly merged into Yu Howren's consciousness from the do as I wish cudgel, causing him to subconsciously use a cudgel technique that only Emperor Realm experts could use. Although he was limited by his cultivation and could not use the power of law, the power of Skyward Strike was close to that of a martial honorable. As for the staff technique, that was close to the level of a martial highness. It caused the 108 stone pillars that were originally motionless to shake violently. Boom! As the staff smashed heavily on the knob at the top of the copper bell, a deafening roar that could no longer be described as deafening could be heard. Not only did it cause cracks to appear on dozens of stone pillars, but it also caused the roar to spread out from the underground cave and resound throughout the entire secret realm. Palace, who was persuading Du Yuan to accept reality, was stunned when he heard the deafening sound. Then, his expression changed. Then, he quickly spoke to Du Yuan. Du Yuan, since the transformation grass has already been consumed by the white wolf, it's best if you can accept this reality. Even if you can't, you can only accept it passively. I'm afraid Brother Yu is in big trouble. I have to go and help him now. Brother Qi, did Brother Yu enter that place? Du Yuan, who was originally unhappy because of Palace's overbearing order, heard that Yu Howren was in danger and saw Palace's grave expression. He immediately thought of the underground cave that was one of the 3 forbidden areas of the demon sealing secret territory. According to the location where I separated from Brother Yu, he should be in the underground cave. After confirming the speculation of the source of the poison, the red loath directly soared into the sky. In just over 10 minutes, it appeared in the sky above the underground cave. Looking at the shattered trees above the cave, Palace could not help but feel surprised. Although Yu Howren's talent and potential were very outstanding, and his strength after transformation was also very good, he still couldn't enter Pallas's eyes. However, from the rumbling from the cave and the destruction of the surrounding forest through the seal of the formation, it meant that the strength Howard had erupted with had far surpassed his own. While Pallas was shocked, he also began to take Howard seriously, treating him as a friend on the same level as himself. Adjusting the shock in his heart, Pallas did not immediately enter the underground cave. Instead, he shouted into the void, "The rules of the mystic realm, come out." As Pallas shouted, an eye slowly appeared in the empty void. It was a cold and emotionless eye. "According to the rules of the secret realm, I have a brother who is currently in the forbidden formation that seals the sky and locks the earth. He's fighting with the artifact spirit at the center of the formation. According to the commotion caused by the battle just now, the two of them should be equally matched. Next, I'll go and help. With our strength, we'll definitely be able to suppress the artifact spirit. According to the rules of the mystic realm, I hope that while we're suppressing the artifact spirit, you can use the power of the rules to further suppress the operation of the formation so that the underground cave can be completely integrated with the mystic realm." After hearing Pallas's request, a hint of hesitation flashed across the originally emotionless eye. It was unwilling to agree to Pallas's request. The rules of the mystic realm. The reason why I'm telling you all this is because after the underground cave is integrated into the mystic realm, your power of the rules will be further perfected. Seeing the hesitation in the eyes of the rules of the mystic realm, Pallas did not seem surprised at all. He continued speaking. "In the future, when the other two forbidden places are integrated into the mystic realm, and when I leave the demon-sealing mystic realm, the mystic realm's power of the rules will be completely perfected. You can also use the perfected power of the rules to give birth to your own consciousness. According to the rules of the mystic realm, my request just now was not a negotiation, but an order. Otherwise, don't blame me for stripping away a part of your power of the rules when I leave the mystic realm. You won't be able to perfect your power of the rules for the rest of your life." At the end of his sentence, Pallas could not help but threaten it. Hearing Pallas' threats, the eyes formed by the rules of the mystic realm shot out a beam of white light that pierced through the underground cave to express its attitude. "Oof, what a waste of my breath." Seeing the white light shot out by the rules of the mystic realm, Pallas grumbled in dissatisfaction. Then he raised his left fist and punched a hole in the tunnel that led to the heaven and earth lock spell. Without any hesitation, he charged into the tunnel. Inside the underground cave, the staff facing the sky, whose power was comparable to a strike from a martial honorable expert, caused a violent explosion. While shattering the 107 stone pillars, it also directly smashed Zhao Zhuangjian, who had a shocked expression, into minced meat. Even the 3 bottles of 100-year spiritual milk he had just collected were also shattered into wisps of mist. After the boom disappeared, Howard looked down at the copper bell from above. He noticed that there was a hair-like crack at the top of the copper bell where the buckle was. He could not help but feel delighted. Then, he prepared to use the sky staff strike again, intending to continue attacking the weak point of the copper bell. However, at this moment, an old and weak voice came from the copper bell. "Human ancient martial art practitioner, why did you disturb my rest?" Hearing the old and weak voice, Howard could not help but feel a little surprised. He did not understand why the venerable realm copper bell's weapon spirit's voice was so old. However, many years of battle habits made Howard decisively stop guessing and use the sky staff strike for the second time. "Human ancient martial art practitioner, stop immediately." Seeing that Howard did not care about his question, the copper bell's weapon spirit scolded him in a flustered and exasperated manner. Unfortunately, in this dangerous situation, Howard did not care about what the other party was saying. Like Mount Tai, the sky staff strike landed heavily on the buckle's weak point. The second boom, caused by the collision between the sky staff strike and the copper bell, shattered more than 10 stone pillars. Howard, look at the shattered stone pillars. Although Howard's attention had been on the copper bell, and he did not have the energy to pay attention to the situation of the surrounding stone pillars, the Thaling, who did not need to do anything, had been paying attention to the situation of the surrounding formation. The moment a flaw appeared in the formation, Howard could escape from the formation that sealed the sky and locked the earth. It was also because he had been paying attention to the formation that he happened to see the situation of the shattered stone pillars. After hearing the Thaling's reminder, Howard glanced at the stone pillars from the corner of his eye. His attention immediately shifted from the copper bell to the stone pillars. Chapter 280. In the depths of the secret realm, in the underground cave, below the head of each strange beast, there was a bowl-sized water trough. The water trough was filled with dozens or hundreds of drops of milky white liquid. Although they were sealed in the stone pillars and could not sense the aura of these strange beasts, Howard was very clear from the size of these strange beasts and their extraordinary races. The strange beasts sealed in the stone pillars were probably the same as the giant white wolf and the purple gold condor. They were terrifying beasts at the overlord level of the secret realm. Howard, I'm afraid you and I have both guessed wrong. The formation in the underground cave is neither sealing the sky nor destroying the earth. Instead, it is more like a blood sacrifice formation that the enchanted beast is preparing to perform. After seeing the strange beasts sealed in the stone pillars and the water trough under their heads, Thaling's tone suddenly relaxed. If it was a forbidden formation that sealed the sky and locked the earth, even if Howard had the advantage now, Thaling would not dare to relax in the slightest. This was because the true power of the forbidden array formation that sealed the sky and locked down the earth did not lie in a magical artifact, the copper bell, but in the absolute vacuum that could absolutely isolate spiritual energy in air, making living creatures starve to death, die of thirst, and suffocation. As for the blood sacrifice formation, whether it was Thaling or Howard, they had not only seen it in their previous lives, but had also come into contact with it. They knew how to break the blood sacrifice formation. Thaling, it seems like there is hope for obtaining the bronze bell. Howard, who also let out a sigh of relief, shifted his gaze from the water trough under the strange beast's head to the bronze bell in the 108th pillar. His eyes revealed a hint of a fire that was determined to obtain it. Human martial artist, what is the meaning of this? Why do you keep attacking me? Seeing that Howard had finally stopped attacking, the artifact spirit, who had used the 100-year spiritual milk in the water trough of the 107 pillars, finally managed to stabilize the bronze bell with great difficulty and asked in a calm tone, "It's nothing." Waving his hand, Howard said without a trace of apology, "I originally thought that the formation of this underground cave was a forbidden formation that sealed the heavens and turned the earth into dust. In order to survive, I could only attack the formation eye of the formation. I'm truly sorry for accidentally injuring you." "I see." Hearing Howard's unapologetic apology, the copper bell artifact spirit felt both angry and helpless. Under normal circumstances, the arrangement of the blood sacrifice array formation would not be like this. However, after the suggestions and improvements of a certain exotic beast that was proficient in formations, and combined with the forbidden formation that sealed the sky and locked down the earth, the power of the blood sacrifice formation was increased. Although he had combined the advantages of the heaven-sealing, earth-locking spell formation and was slowly recovering from his injuries, it was easy for him to give the wrong impression to any living beings who accidentally trespassed into the spell formation. 100 years ago, there was once a powerful exotic beast that accidentally trespassed into the blood sacrifice formation. It mistakenly thought that the blood sacrifice formation was a forbidden formation that sealed the heavens and locked down the earth. Without saying a word, it directly attacked the copper bell. In the end, it had no choice but to tear a corner of the formation, allowing the exotic beast to leave unscathed. However, the injuries that it had painstakingly recovered from worsened once again. And this time, this human expert that could transform into an exotic beast also mistakenly thought that the blood sacrifice formation was a forbidden formation that sealed the heavens and locked down the earth, and directly chose to attack. Not only did the injuries that it had spent 100 years to recover from worsen, but it also caused a fatal crack to appear on its copper bell, causing it to suffer even more losses. As the saying went, there was no third time. The copper bell artifact's spirit decided that after Howren left, it must find a way to change the formation of the entire underground cave to avoid a third unexpected disaster. After finishing its inner sigh, the artifact spirit hiding in the copper bell inadvertently saw a trace of fanaticism flash in Howren's eyes and was shocked. Then, as it planned to open a corner of the blood sacrifice formation, it indicated that Howren could leave now. Since it's a misunderstanding, human expert, I'll help you open a corner of the formation. Do you choose to leave now? Okay. Putting away the as I wish staff, Howren intended to leave the blood sacrifice formation. Of course, leaving did not mean giving up. Through Thalink's analysis of the strengths and weaknesses of the two formations, he discovered that the blood sacrifice formation that combined the two formations had a fatal flaw. That was, the defense and attack of the inner part of the formation were the strongest. It was impossible to break the formation with just the secret transformation technique, but the defense and attack of the outer part of the formation were the weakest. In order to obtain the Copper Bell artifact, it was necessary to consume the source of power of the Copper Bell artifact, which was the spiritual milk formed by the exotic beast vitality in the 107 stone pillars. Therefore, Thalink suggested that Howren temporarily leave the blood sacrifice formation. Firstly, it was to ensure his own safety. Secondly, it would give him enough time to attack the formation. Just as Howren put away the as I wish staff and was about to leave through the opening opened by the Copper Bell artifact spirit, Palace's angry roar came from behind him. Copper Bell artifact spirit, you deserve to die. Brother Chi, why are you here? Howren asked in surprise when he saw Palace rushing over. It was impossible that Palace did not know about the existence of the heaven sealing and earth locking formation and the Copper Bell artifact in the underground cave. After all, in order to find the transformation grass, Palace had traversed the entire Blue Moon secret realm. It was impossible for him to miss the underground cave. Based on the Scarlet Los experience, Howren guessed that it was likely to have mistaken the underground cave's formation as the heaven-sealing, earth-locking formation, just like himself. Although he did not know how Palace had left the underground cave in the end, considering the reputation of the heaven-sealing and earth-locking formation, Palace should not have set foot here. Taking a deep breath, Palace suppressed the anger that welled up in his heart when he saw the strange beast sealed in the stone pillar, and explained with difficulty. The commotion caused by Brother Yu's fight with the Copper Bell artifact spirit has spread throughout the secret realm. I have been here once before, and I guess that Brother Yu must have encountered some trouble, so I came to help. Just by hearing the commotion, Palace suspected that he had encountered some trouble and came to help despite the dangers of the heaven-sealing and earth-locking formation. Howren was very touched by Palace's righteous actions. Brother Yu, don't thank me, Palace said with a murderous look as he reached out to stop Howren from thanking him. If you want to thank me, if you still think that I'm a friend of the Scarlet Loathe Beast, then help me destroy the artifact spirit of the Copper Bell and avenge my 100 brothers in the demon-sealing secret realm. Brother Chi, you said that the strange beasts sealed in the stone pillar were once your brothers. Howren could not help but gasp and ask in disbelief after hearing the reason for Palace's murderous look. 107 terrifying strange beasts whose strength was comparable to the white wolf and the purple golden condor. Palace had too many friends. Chapter 281. Sorry, as I was secretly writing during work hours, I didn't have much time. As a result, in the first few chapters, the word wrong in the cave is wrong. It's more troublesome to edit the VIP chapters. Fortunately, it won't affect your reading, so I'll remind you here. Deep in the secret realm, in the underground cave. That's right, Palace said through gritted teeth, nodding his head as he stared at the bronze bell. These 107 brothers are close friends that I've gotten to know over the past 100 years. Through battles, I've formed a deep friendship with them. However, for some unknown reason, whenever a brother's strength breaks through to Martial King, he will mysteriously disappear. With my strength, although I can explore the entire secret realm and even command the rules of the secret realm to listen to my orders, there are 3 forbidden areas in the secret realm that I don't dare to set foot in. Originally, I thought that my brothers might have fallen into the Death Swamp, because there's a grade 5 blood lotus in the Death Swamp that's highly tempting to all the strange beasts in the secret realm. My attention has been on that area all these years. But what I didn't expect was that the least likely place to harm my brothers was the Heaven and Earth Lockdown Formation's Formation I, the weapon's spirit. Hearing Palace mention the 3 forbidden areas in the secret realm, Yu Haoran's interest was immediately piqued. Of course, interest was just interest. He wasn't the kind of person who would disregard everything for treasures. Before he had absolute strength, he would never take the risk. Brother Chi, the formation in the underground cave isn't the forbidden formation you thought it was. It's a blood sacrifice formation that uses the vitality of living creatures to power the formation I. Seeing that Palace still believed that the formation in front of him was the forbidden Heaven and Earth Lockdown Formation, even though he was incomparably furious, he quickly reminded him, "Mi-hun, you really deserve to die." When the Scarlet Loathe heard that the formation in front of it was not the heaven-sealing earth-locking formation that it had always thought of, but instead it was a blood sacrifice that extracted the flesh, blood, and vitality of living beings with the help of the formation's eye. While it breathed a sigh of relief, it could not help but curse the ecstasy beast. Hearing Palace mention the enchanted beast, Yu Haoran suddenly remembered that he had used the blood sacrifice formation to leave the secret realm. He immediately understood why Palace was so angry. At the same time, he suddenly thought of the disciples of the 4 sects that were nailed to the tree trunk and felt a little embarrassed. He felt that he had been too focused on his own opportunity and had forgotten about the disciples who were suffering. "Brother Yu, you just need to watch the battle and see how I destroy the Bronze Bell's weapon spirit." After knowing that the formation's formation I, Palace a blood sacrifice formation I, Palace a blood sacrifice formation I, he wasn't afraid. Palace, Yu Haoran's suggestion. Yu Haoran enthusiastic suggestion. SSS suggestion. SSS. T use me and you. T tell Elt. Aside from the fact that the 3rd drop of the Vajra monkey's blood essence was almost exhausted, the reason why he wanted to join forces was because if he chose to stand by and watch, then after he killed the artifact spirit of the Copper Bell, he wouldn't have the nerve to ask for the Copper Bell. Sure, fortunately, Palace didn't know Yu Haoran's. Furthermore, he didn't have any interest in the Bronze Bell. Hence, when Yu Haoran suggested that they work together, he immediately nodded in agreement. Then, ignoring the weapon spirit's objections and pleas, they each used their most powerful technique, Chaos Spirit Destruction. This was Palace's most powerful fist technique. Its power was at the peak of the martial sage realm. Skyward Strike. This was a combination of the Monkey Emperor's battle consciousness from the near ancient era and a heart like me. Brother Palace, attack the Bronze Bell's buckle. That's the Bronze Bell's weak point. Yu Haoran hurriedly reminded him when he saw that Palace was only attacking the Bronze Bell's main body. Although the Bronze Bell in the stone pillar was unable to unleash its full power due to its own injuries, the Bronze Bell was once a peak martial sage realm weapon. Its own defensive power was definitely not something a martial sage realm weapon could break through. After hearing Yu Haoran's reminder, Palace immediately changed the direction of his attack. After Yu Haoran's Skyward Strike ended, he used his Chaos Spirit Destruction fist technique on the buckle. After being attacked twice in a row, the crack on the Bronze Bell's buckle grew wider and the weapon spirit's aura within the Bronze Bell grew weaker. Damned humans and Palace. Just you wait. When my soul-destroying bell's main body recovers to its peak, I'll extract your souls and make you wish you were dead. Regardless of whether it was Howren who had transformed into the Vajra monkey or Pallas who had inherited 3 divine beast bloodlines, the bronze bell's weapon spirit that had been severely injured could not deal with them. Although leaving the demon sealing secret realm would be life-threatening, if they did not leave the demon sealing secret realm, they would definitely die. Therefore, the bronze bell's weapon spirit directly used all the 100-year spiritual milk in the 107 stone pillars to tear open the secret realm's void and quickly escape from the demon sealing secret realm. Howren and Pallas did not immediately chase after them. Pallas did not immediately chase after them because he could not leave the demon sealing secret realm yet. He was not strong enough to leave the demon sealing secret realm, but he was also not strong enough to leave the secret realm. Howren did not immediately chase after them because of what the bronze bell's weapon spirit had said before leaving the secret realm. The soul-destroying bell. The bronze bell weapon that had just escaped from the Blue Moon's secret realm turned out to be the soul-destroying bell that caused a war between the Xiandao school, one of the top 7 sects, and the aristocratic family of inheritance. In his previous life, when Howren's cultivation had broken through to the martial royal realm, he had a certain amount of strength to avoid and fight back against those experts who were chasing after him. He had once infiltrated the Xiandao school, one of the top 7 sects, and became an ordinary Xiandao school's outer sect deacon. When he became the Xiandao school's outer sect deacon, he had once participated in a sect mission to track down a secret weapon. The weapon that he had been tracking was the soul-destroying bell that was said to be able to destroy the divine soul of all living things. It was also because of the soul-destroying bell that Xiandao school and the Sima family, one of the 9 aristocratic families of inheritance, had a violent conflict, which eventually led to a bloody war between the Xiandao school and the Sima family. Due to the escalation of the war, the strength of the experts who participated in the war became stronger and stronger. In the end, it attracted the experts of the martial venerable realm. A battle of this level was no longer something that a first-grade martial royal realm could participate in. Therefore, Howren took advantage of an opportunity when he was out on a sneak attack mission to quietly leave the Xiandao school and join the weapon refining sect. This was the fundamental reason why he had lived in the weapon refining sect for a period of time. In addition to continuing to evade the pursuit of his enemies, he also wanted to find out the true origin of the soul-destroying bell. Unfortunately, information about the soul-destroying bell was an absolute secret in the weapon refining sect. With his identity, when he had infiltrated the weapon refining sect, he was not qualified to have access to the core secrets. In the end, he was unable to obtain information about the soul-destroying bell. Thaling, how much do you know about the soul-destroying bell? Howren took a deep breath and glanced at Pallas, whose face was full of unwillingness as he stared at the restored void. He could only ask Thaling for help. Fortunately, the soul-destroying bell escaped by itself. Otherwise, you and Pallas would be in danger. Chapter 282. In the depths of the secret land, in the underground cave, the soul-destroying bell, one of the divine weapons that were born from the chaos at the beginning of the ancient era. Howren could not help but gasp when he heard Thaling's introduction of the soul-destroying bell. This was because he had never imagined that the seemingly ordinary bronze bell was actually a divine artifact that had been born from the chaos when the world was first created. Howren had another question in his mind after his initial shock. Since the soul-destroying bell was a divine weapon born from the chaos at the beginning of the ancient era, why had it fallen to the level of a venerable realm weapon? Why had its weapon spirit become afraid of death and had lost the demeanor of an ancient era expert? However, Howren did not question Thaling. He knew that Thaling would tell him the answer to his question. In the middle of the ancient era, for some reason, there was a fierce battle between the ancient era divine beasts. One of them was good at controlling the minds of living beings. He held the soul-extinguishing bell in his hand and hid in the shadows. I don't know what race or power he belonged to. He suddenly appeared on the battlefield and slaughtered almost 10,000 Exalt and Emperor Realm divine beasts in a very short time. Howren, even in the ancient era, when the environment was suitable for cultivation, it was not easy to become a martial venerable or emperor Wu. Nearly 10,000 venerable realm and emperor realm divine beasts were killed. It must have attracted the attention of the godly realm divine beasts. Therefore, the 9 godly realm divine beasts joined forces. In the end, they were killed by the expert with the soul-destroying bell. In desperation, the 9 most powerful divine beast kings joined forces and finally destroyed the soul-destroying bell and injured the expert who had been hiding in the shadows. Thaling, since the soul-destroying bell's body was destroyed, the weapon spirit's soul must have been destroyed as well. Yu Haoran interrupted Thaling's narration of the destruction of the soul-destroying bell. He had some knowledge of weapon refining. Under normal circumstances, this is the case, but the soul-destroying bell is different. Because it targets the souls of living beings, the difference in strength between the soul-extinguishing bell's artifact spirit and its main body is not that great. Thus, although the soul-extinguishing bell's main body was destroyed, the soul-extinguishing bell survived. Regardless, the joint attack of the 9 great divine beast kings was enough to destroy the entire Tianxian land. Even if the spirit of the soul-extinguishing bell survived, it would suffer unimaginable injuries. Thaling. Although I don't know how many years have passed since the ancient times, the Middle Ages, and the Late Ages, it must have been a long time. It's been such a long time, but the soul-extinguishing bell's artifact spirit hasn't rebuilt its body or recovered from its injuries. Yu Haoran threw out puzzle questions one after another. You're right. With the environment of the ancient era, middle era, and recent era, the soul-extinguishing bell, which is proficient in soul arts, should have recovered long ago. However, as a divine artifact born from the chaos at the beginning of the world, the soul-extinguishing bell is the object that countless creatures crazily fight for. As long as a trace of it is leaked, it will definitely cause countless experts to fight for it. You said that the soul-extinguishing bell's artifact spirit, which has independent consciousness and strength not weaker than its main body, would be willing to be controlled again. Therefore, I suspect that the soul-extinguishing bell's artifact spirit, which has been severely injured since the ancient era, has been hiding in the dark and has not recovered from its injuries. Although Thaling's speculation and explanation sounded reasonable, Yu Haoran felt that it was not so simple. Because according to the soul-extinguishing bell's proficiency in soul arts and the blood sacrifice array, just now, it was absolutely impossible for it to hide in the dark all the time. There must be some clues left by it in some places. It seemed that when he left the sect in the future and went out to train, in addition to exploring the secrets of the demon-sealing secret realm, he should also pay attention to some information about the soul-extinguishing bell. After all, when the soul-extinguishing bell escaped from the secret realm, its tone revealed its hatred. Yu Haoran knew that they would meet sooner or later. At that time, either one of them would die. Brother Yu, you should leave first. Pallas, who took the initiative to break the silence, said to the strange beasts sealed in the stone pillars, I want to bury my brothers one by one. Brother Qi, let me help you. Pallas's loyalty and loyalty made Yu Haoran sincerely want to make friends with him, so he offered to help. Shaking his head, Pallas refused. No, I still have some things to say to these brothers. All right. Knowing that the Scarlet Loathe would definitely reveal some secrets that were inconvenient for him to know in front of these dead exotic beasts, the considerate Yu Haoran decided to leave. Seeing that Yu Haoran was about to end the transformation secret technique, Pallas suddenly stopped him. Brother Yu, wait a moment. Brother Qi, what's wrong? Yu Haoran asked, puzzled. Brother Yu, how long can your transformation secret technique last? Without explaining why he stopped, Pallas asked him how long the transformation secret technique could last. If I don't use the energy of the blood essence, I can still last for more than 3 hours. But if I use the energy of the blood essence, I can only last for an hour at most. Yu Haoran answered truthfully. So that's how it is. Nodding, the Scarlet Loathe shouted towards the ceiling of the underground cave. The secret realm's rules come out. Then, an emotionless eye appeared in the underground cave. This This is the Blue Moon Secret Realm's power of rules. When Yu Haoran saw the eye that appeared in the underground cave, even though he was in his transformed state, he was so shocked that he took a few steps back. Then, he pointed at the eye floating above his head and said in a trembling voice, "That's right. This is the first form of the Secret Realm's power of rules." Pallas confirmed with a nod. Then, Pallas pointed at Yu Haoran and ordered in a stern tone, "The rules. There are still 3 days before the demon sealing Secret Realm closes. In these 3 days, wherever Brother Yu goes, the power of rules will automatically avoid him." After hearing Pallas's order, the emotionless eyes suddenly widened and a trace of anger and reluctance appeared in it. Yu Haoran looked at Pallas in disbelief. Although Pallas had once said that he could ignore the Secret Realm's power of rules, and that he could use his own strength to offset the restrictions of the Secret Realm's power of rules, he had never said that he could command the Secret Realm's power of rules. "What's wrong? You're not willing." Seeing that the eye didn't say anything for a long time, Pallas's face instantly darkened, and his tone became even more sinister. With a swoosh, a white light instantly merged into Yu Haoran's body. Then, the eye formed by the Secret Realm's power of rules instantly disappeared in the underground cave. "Brother Yu, that white light just now was the origin of the Secret Realm's power of rules." With the origin of the Secret Realm's power of rules, not only can you use the secret transformation technique at will, but it also has the power of rules to deter exotic beasts like the white wolf, making it convenient for you to move freely in the Secret Realm. Seeing that Yu Haoran was still in shock, Pallas signaled him to come back to his senses and explained the use of the white light just now. "Brother Qi, this gift is too important." Yu Haoran swallowed a mouthful of saliva and thanked him stiffly. Chapter 283. In the depths of the secret territory, in the underground cave. "Brother Yu, don't worry about it. It's just a small matter." Pallas waved his hand and said in a casual tone. Then, he walked up to the strange beast that was sealed in the stone pillar. His expression revealed a trace of sadness and self-blame. "Brother Qi, thank you." Although Pallas did not seem to mind, Yu Haoran still expressed his gratitude. Then, he maintained his transformed state and left the underground cave. After Yu Haoran left the underground cave, Thowling excitedly suggested, "Yu Haoran, since the secret territory's rules do not restrict you in any way, why don't you take this opportunity to break through to the Martial Master Realm? Then, use the endless resources in the secret territory to further increase your cultivation and strength." Shaking his head, Yu Haoran did not accept Thowling's suggestion, nor did he explain why he rejected it. Instead, he maintained his transformed state and flew directly to the outskirts of the secret territory. At the peak of the Yin Spring, "Senior Wu, why don't the 3 of us team up to look for you, Xixiao?" After waiting for nearly 2 days, Wu Zhengjun could no longer bear it. Even Zhang Ro did not want to wait any longer. At this moment, not only had she used the Yin Spring's energy to calm the flames of desire in her body, but she had also used the Yin Spring's energy to purify her Yuan Li. With the help of the pills and spiritual stones that Wu Zhengjun had given her, her cultivation had also successfully broken through to the peak of grade 4 martial warrior. More importantly, after 2 days of rest, Lai Yun's injuries had basically recovered. With the strength of the 3 of them and a 9-legged worm's strength that was not inferior to that of a martial king, they definitely had the strength to search for Yu Haoran in the depths of the secret territory. Of course, no problem. If it were not for Zhang Ro's persuasion and obstruction, he would have already decided to leave the Yin Spring Peak yesterday. Therefore, we heard that they were going to search for Yu Haoran together. How could Wu Zhengjun not agree? All right. Although Lai Yun was somewhat unwilling, considering that his life had been saved by Yu Haoran and Wu Zhengjun, and the fact that he had been able to recover from his serious injuries so quickly was also due to the top-grade medicinal pills that Wu Zhengjun had given him, Lai Yun could only agree. If that's the case, let's hurry up and leave. Seeing that neither Wu Zhengjun nor Lai Yun had any objections, Zhang Ro got up and left the Yin Spring. She planned to leave the Yin Spring mountain together and head to the depths of the mystic realm to look for Yu Haoran. Right at this moment, an incomparably deep voice suddenly sounded in their ears. At the same time, accompanied by an incomparably powerful voice, a 49-meter-tall, giant monkey suddenly descended on the Yin Spring Mountain. "Who are you?" Zhang Ro asked as she stood in front of Wu Jingjun while using her mind to wake up the nine-legged worm. "Senior Sister Zhang, don't be nervous. This is Yu Xixiang." Motioning Zhang Ro to relax, Wu Jingjun said with a smile. Although he had not seen Yu Haoran's transformation process, he had heard 5th Senior Brother Huang Zonghua describe Yu Haoran's transformation process in detail. Therefore, after seeing the giant monkey descend on the Yin Spring Mountain without any violent and bloodthirsty aura, Wu Jingjun immediately knew that Yu Haoran had returned safely. "Yu Xixiang, the matter is settled." Walking out from behind Zhang Ro, Wu Jingjun asked happily. Nodding, Yu Haoran directly stretched out his giant palm and motioned for Wu Jingjun to jump onto his giant palm. "Junior Sister Zhang, Junior Brother Lai Yun, with your strength, as long as you don't cross the Yin Spring Mountain, you should have no problem protecting yourself." Yu Haoran, who was still in his transformed state, reminded Wu Jingjun as he lifted him up. "Junior Brother Wu and I still have important matters to attend to. We will part here. If fate wills it, we will meet again in the future." Then, pretending not to see Zhang Ro's tender eyes and ignoring Lai Yun, who was about to say something, Yu Haoran directly soared into the sky. Although he had dispersed a portion of the Vajra monkey's essence blood and only maintained the strength of a peak 9th grade martial king, with his flying speed and the convenience of the secret realm's rules, Yu Haoran brought Wu Jingjun back to the spirit vein in a little more than a minute. Pointing at Gong Sun Yiming, who was nailed to the tree trunk, Wu Jingjun asked with a shocked expression, "Yu Xixiang, this is—" "Jingjun, ignore Gong Sun Yiming for now. Protect me." After dispersing the energy of the Vajra monkey's essence blood and ending the secret transformation technique, Yu Haoran returned to his original form and reminded with a pale face, "Yu Xixiang, are you all right?" Seeing Yu Haoran finish his transformation, Wu Jingjun, who had previously understood the consequences of the secret transformation technique's backlash, hurriedly supported the unsteady Yu Haoran and asked with concern. Shaking his head, with Wu Jingjun's support, Yu Haoran bent his knees and sat down cross-legged. Then, he began to examine the situation in his body. After carefully examining his body, Yu Haoran couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Although he had directly used all the energy of the Vajra monkey's essence blood this time, causing the consequences of the secret transformation technique's backlash to be extremely severe, his cultivation and physical body had been constantly improving recently, allowing his body to withstand the backlash to increase greatly. Although the backlash of the secret transformation technique this time had caused his internal organs, meridians, and blood vessels to suffer the same consequences as the first time, the most important thing was that his dantian hadn't been damaged, so it wouldn't affect his following actions. "Jingjun, I'm fine." After ending his internal examination, Yu Haoran opened his eyes and indicated to Wu Jingjun that he was fine. After that, he took out a few recovery pills from his storage ear. While taking the pills, Yu Haoran instructed, "Jingjun, with Gong Sun Yiming as the base, their disciples nailed to the tree trunks on the left and right. Go and rescue them now. Yu Xixiang, what about your safety? If he had to rescue the others, then who would protect Yu Haoran?" Coming, turning his head to look at the depths of the spirit vein, Yu Haoran instantly saw a red shadow appear in front of him. Seeing the pale Yu Haoran sitting cross-legged on the ground, the red redwood boar snorted in concern. "Yu Xixiang, are you all right?" Lin Mingyao jumped down from the red redwood boar's back and hurriedly asked, "Brother Boar, I'm fine." Yu Haoran reached out and rubbed the red redwood boar's ear, indicating that he was fine. Soon after, Yu Haoran's originally gentle expression instantly turned cold. "Junior Sister Lin, you're also awake. Many thanks to Yu Xixiang for saving me." Facing Yu Haoran's change in attitude, although Lin Mingyao felt a bit of heartache, she knew that she was the cause of all this. Therefore, Lin Mingyao still expressed her gratitude. It was just a lift of a finger. There's no need to thank me. Yu Haoran waved his hand, indicating that he didn't mean to save her. Soon after, he said to the red redwood boar, "Brother boar, I need to calm my heart and heal my injuries. I'll have to trouble you to protect me." Snort, snort. After snorting a few times, the red redwood boar bit Lin Mingyao's trousers, indicating that she should go to the side. Then, it stood 3 meters away from Yu Haoran, vigilant of the surroundings. Chapter 284. In the Blue Moon's Secret Realm, inside the upper rank 5 spiritual vein. Since his dantian was not damaged, it did not affect him from using the origin energy in his dantian to assist in healing. Therefore, with the help of top-notch elixirs and origin energy, Yu Haoran's injuries quickly recovered. An hour later, as Yu Haoran opened his eyes, his originally pale face gradually became rosy and his originally messy breathing calmed down. However, when he opened his eyes and saw the thousands of dispirited and dispirited disciples 30 meters away from him, he was shocked. Then, when he remembered that he had asked Wu Jingjun to save these people, he immediately felt relieved. "Thank you, Yu Shixiang, for saving my life." After seeing Yu Haoran open his eyes and stand up, Gong Sun Yiming, who was familiar with Yu Haoran, quickly stepped forward to express his gratitude. "Thank you, Yu Shixiang, for saving my life." With Gong Sun Yiming taking the lead, the remaining thousands of disciples also expressed their gratitude. Of course, only they themselves would know if they were as sincere as Gong Sun Yiming. "Everyone, there's no need to be so polite." Yu Haoran waved his hand and gestured. Then he glanced at the thousands of disciples who had been rescued and realized that most of them were in a state of exhaustion due to excessive blood loss and physical torture. "Everyone, where you are standing now, is actually an upper-grade, rank 5 spiritual vein. The concentration of spiritual qi around the spiritual vein is not inferior to the spiritual qi secret realm that your respective sects use to increase your cultivation. Therefore, for the next period of time, you can use the rich spiritual qi of heaven and earth here to recover and heal your injuries. Of course, if you are confident in your own strength, you can also choose to leave this place." Although there were large amounts of healing elixirs in his storage earring, Yu Haoran had no intention of contributing them. After all, not only was he not familiar with these people in front of him, many of them had tried to kill him because of his storage device and the treasures in it. It was already good enough that he did not take revenge. It was impossible for him to take out precious healing elixirs to help them. Moreover, Yu Haoran knew that he had just revealed the news of the upper rank 5 spiritual vein. It would definitely arouse the greed in some people's hearts. Perhaps they would think of a way to sneak into the source of the spiritual vein and fight for the high-quality spiritual stones. Therefore, Yu Haoran would rather they be unable to act because of their injuries. Otherwise, he would not mind to send them on their deaths again. After hearing Yu Haoran's order, the thousands of disciples present showed a trace of joy on their faces. Moreover, none of them chose to leave. They all looked for a suitable place, either with the help of the spiritual qi or with the help of the medicinal pills they brought with them. They seized the time to heal their injuries. "Zhengjun, Yiming, follow me." Since Gong Sun Yiming was the first to be rescued by Wu Jingjun and was directly given a top-notch healing elixir, Gong Sun Yiming's injuries had already healed by 40%. Although he could not participate in the battle for the time being, basic movements were not a problem. "Junior Sister Lin, you also come with us." Originally, he only wanted to let Wu Jingjun and Gong Sun Yiming go to the depths of the spiritual vein, as well as the cave at the source of the spiritual vein. However, he considered that if he left Lin Mingyao alone, not only would he be too stingy, but he would also put her in an unsafe environment. Helpless, he could only invite her to go into the depths of the spiritual vein. "Thank you, Yu Shixiao." Seeing that Yu Haoran was willing to bring her along, Lin Mingyao was very happy. Wu Jingjun and Gong Sun Yiming did not know about the existence and effects of the spiritual mist, but Lin Mingyao was very clear about it. It was because of the spiritual mist that she was able to break through to the 5th grade martial warrior in a short day. Then, in a short half a day, her cultivation directly rose to the peak of the 5th grade martial warrior. If it wasn't for the redwood boar suddenly bringing her out of the spiritual mist, she felt that she would have been able to break through to the 6th grade martial warrior in 3 to 4 hours. At this moment, she finally understood why Yu Haoran and Wu Jingjuan's cultivation rose so quickly. It seemed that adventuring was the best way to quickly increase one's strength. Chapter 285. Inside the Blue Moon Secret Realm, inside the upper rank 5 Spirit Vein. Yu Shixiang, why did you leave those people in the upper rank 5 Spirit Vein? Gong Sun Yiming asked in confusion after they were far away from the people they had just rescued. You should know that a portion of those people aren't kind people. They won't be grateful to you for saving them. They might even try to kill you for the high-quality spirit stones in the upper rank 5 Spirit Vein. Junior Gong Sun, I know everything you just said. Nodding his head, Yu Haoran indicated that he knew of the hidden dangers of leaving those people behind. Since Yu Shixiang knows, why did you still do this? Gong Sun Yiming asked in confusion. Glancing at Gong Sun Yiming, Yu Haoran said with a sneer, Junior Gong Sun, with my strength, do I have to be afraid of these people repaying kindness with enmity? That's true. Gong Sun Yiming nodded in agreement. After all, Yu Haoran was able to save thousands of people from the hands of so many powerful strange beasts. This meant that his strength had far surpassed the martial master realm. With such powerful strength, he also had the ability to kill those people who were weaker than the strange beasts. Therefore, if those people were sensible, they'd better not provoke Yu Haoran. Otherwise, their fates would be very miserable. Ru, just as Yu Haoran and Gong Sun Yiming were discussing whether or not the people they rescued would repay kindness with enmity, the redwood boar that had turned into a streak of red light suddenly appeared in front of Yu Haoran and started to hum softly. If it was said that he couldn't understand the meaning behind the redwood boar's excessive snorting in the past, then after many days of contact, he could basically guess what the redwood boar's snorting meant. After the redwood boar finished snorting, Yu Haoran smiled and said to Gong Sun Yiming, Junior brother Gong Sun, it seems like your guess was correct. Not only will those people repay kindness with enmity, they also plan to kill me and Jingjun in order to obtain the high-quality spirit stones in the depths of the spirit vein. Yu Shixiang, give me an hour. Once I've completely recovered, I'll join hands with senior brother Wu to slaughter these ungrateful bastards. Gong Sun Yiming was quite familiar with the redwood boar that had just appeared. This was because after Wu Jingjun rescued him, not only did he explain the relationship between the redwood boar and Yu Haoran, he also vaguely pointed out the powerful strength that the redwood boar possessed. However, when Wu Jingjun went to rescue the second person, the redwood boar suddenly disappeared from his line of sight, and he didn't know what it had done. It seemed like it was hiding in the shadows, monitoring the actions of those people. Therefore, Gong Sun Yiming didn't have the slightest bit of doubt about the information that the redwood boar had just revealed. Shaking his head, Yu Haoran rejected Gong Sun Yiming's suggestion, and the corners of his mouth slightly rose as he said, The 100 Qi Gates and Forcer Peak disciples will take the lead, and then we'll gather the experts of the 4 sects and prepare to move out in 10 hours. In 10 hours, we'll have basically finished what we need to do. When the time comes, I'll leave them with a generous gift. Let's see who's lucky enough to enjoy this generous gift. He didn't understand what Yu Haoran meant by the generous gift, but since he didn't want him to act, Gong Sun Yiming didn't say anything else. Junior brother Gong Sun, this is the pure spirit qi formed by the absorption of a high-level 5 spirit vein. Not only can it increase one's cultivation and strength, but it also has healing effects that don't lose out to top-notch pills. Yu Haoran explained to Gong Sun Yiming as he pointed at the spirit qi in front of them. After hearing Yu Haoran's explanation, Gong Sun Yiming's eyes widened, and his face was filled with envy and excitement as he said, So miraculous! Junior brother Gong Sun, from now on, you can use the spirit qi to heal while continuing to increase your strength. Yu Haoran glanced at Lin Mingyao and finally steeled his heart and instructed. Junior sister Lin, you stay here and accompany junior brother Gong Sun. Got it, Yu Shixiao. Although she really wanted to stay with Yu Haoran, Lin Mingyao knew that this matter couldn't be rushed. Otherwise, the result would be the opposite of what she wanted. Moreover, her cultivation had already reached the peak of 5th grade martial warrior, and she was planning to use the spirit chi to break through. Therefore, she agreed with him willingly. Junior brother Gong Sun, cultivate well. Patting Gong Sun Yiming's shoulder, Yu Haoran brought Wu Zhengjun deeper into the spirit chi. When they entered the core of the spirit chi and were 50 meters away from the entrance to the spirit vein, Yu Haoran took out the What I Wish rod. As soon as the What I Wish rod left Yu Haoran's acupuncture point, it immediately began to frantically absorb the spirit chi. Why Wish rod? I'll leave you here for the time being to heal. Yu Haoran instructed as he inserted the What I Wish rod into the ground. If I'm not done with my business and the spirit chi is unable to heal your injuries, you should know how to find me. Shaking it left and right, the What I Wish rod indicated that it knew and continued to crazily absorb the spirit chi. Let's go. After reminding the shocked Wu Zhengjun, Yu Haoran continued to walk towards the spirit vein's entrance. Seeing the What I Wish rod crazily absorbing the spirit chi, the red redwood boar's eyes revealed a complicated expression. Soon after, it strode forward with its 4 short legs and hurriedly chased after them. Brother Boar, in the cave below, there's a very important treasure to me, Yu Haoran said apologetically as he pointed at the entrance to the spirit vein's source. This treasure is related to a very important secret, so I hope that you can continue to guard the entrance for me and prevent anyone from entering. Rule. The red redwood boar snorted a few times and crawled 2 meters away from the entrance to express its attitude. Thank you, Brother Boar. Yu Haoran cupped his fists and thanked it. Soon after, he led Wu Zhengjun into the cave. But just as they were about to enter the cave, Yu Haoran suddenly turned his head and said to the red redwood boar, Brother Boar, if my guess is correct, you're doing your best to help me because you want to use me to leave the Blue Moon secret realm, or rather, leave the Demon Ceiling secret realm, right? Yu Haoran's baffling words caused the red redwood boar to immediately stand up and look at Yu Haoran with vigilance. Looks like my guess is correct. The red redwood boar's vigilant reaction let Yu Haoran know that his and Thaling's guess was correct. He was indeed planning to use the pet beast contract to leave the secret realm. Brother Boar, don't worry. I've already discussed it with Brother Red. When the secret realm closes, he and I will work together to change the secret realm's rules and send you and me out of the secret realm at the same time. So, you don't need to sign a pet beast contract with me. After leaving behind his promise, Yu Haoran led Wu Zhengjun into the cave. Chapter 286. Inside the Blue Moon secret realm, inside the high-grade spirit vein. Yu Shixiao, you said that the reason why the red redwood boar helped you was because it wanted to use you to leave the Blue Moon secret realm, and not because it was following you wholeheartedly. After entering the cave, Wu Zhengjun asked somewhat indignantly. This was because he had come into contact with the red redwood boar relatively early. Back then, it was under the red redwood boar's lead that he successfully found Yu Haoran. Therefore, he was rather grateful to the red redwood boar. During their second encounter, Yu Haoran even let the red redwood boar protect him. In Wu Zhengjun's opinion, the red redwood boar must have been subdued by Yu Shixiao's personal charm and was willing to follow him. However, he didn't think that all of this was originally planned. A conspiracy? That's right. Nodding, Yu Haoran confirmed. After receiving Yu Haoran's confirmation, Wu Zhengjun angrily complained, to think that I was so respectful to it just now. I even gave it the few precious elixirs that senior brother gave me. Don't mind it. We're just taking what we need. Waving his hand, he indicated that Wu Zhengjun didn't need to mind the elixirs. He also expressed that he didn't care about the red redwood boar's selfishness. After all, with the red redwood boar's strength, when he left the spirit vein to chase after the enchanted beast, it could enter the spirit cave alone. It could either kill the spirit source or take the level 4 spirit stones on the spirit cave's wall. However, he didn't say that, which meant that he still respected him. Since Yu Haoran, who was being used, didn't mind, Wu Zhengjun could only shrug his shoulders and didn't say anything else. Yu Shixiang, this is? Because Yu Haoran was leading the way, Wu Zhengjun didn't pay attention to the situation below his feet. After entering the spirit cave, he immediately fell into the spirit liquid. Originally, he still wanted to struggle out of the spirit liquid, but countless pure spirit qi entered his body through his pores, causing his strength, which had already reached its limit, to have a slight increase. This caused Wu Zhengjun to immediately stop struggling and ask with a shocked expression on his face. When the spiritual qi of heaven and earth reaches a certain level of purity and quantity, it will turn into a liquid state. While explaining Wu Zhengjun's interrogation, Yu Haoran's gaze turned towards the jade bed, looking at the spiritual source that was still in a numb state. Zhengjun, this is a storage pouch that can store items. After it recognizes you as its master, you're responsible for collecting the level 4 spirit stones on the wall. Yu Haoran instructed as he tossed the storage pouch that the enchanted beast had given him to Wu Zhengjun. Yu Shixiang, you mean to say that you're giving this storage pouch to me? Wu Zhengjun asked in disbelief as he caught the pouch that Yu Haoran had tossed over. Although he hadn't been in the 100 Qi Gate for long and didn't have much life experience, Wu Zhengjun still had some general knowledge of the Tianxian continent thanks to his knowledgeable 5th senior, Huang Zonghua. For example, the scarcity of storage magic tools. According to Huang Zonghua, in the 100 Qi Gate, whose overall strength was in the middle of the second-rate sex, apart from a dozen or so martial emperors who might have a storage magic tool that could store items, the rest of the peak lords, elders, deacons, and core disciples didn't have the qualifications or ability to own a storage magic tool. However, when Yu Shixiang had tossed the pouch to him, he had clearly said that he wanted him to recognize him as its master. Didn't that mean that he was giving the storage pouch to him? A mere storage pouch with a space of only 30 square meters has already made you so excited. If I were to give you a storage bracelet with a space of 300 or 400 square meters, or a storage ring with a space of thousands or even tens of thousands of square meters, wouldn't you be ecstatic to death? Originally, Yu Haoran didn't want to pay attention to Wu Zhengjun. However, when he saw how useless he was, he couldn't help but criticize him. In fact, it wasn't that Yu Haoran didn't want to give a storage bracelet with a larger space to Wu Zhengjun. However, after considering Wu Zhengjun's strength and the preciousness of a storage magic tool, Yu Haoran didn't want to give it to him. If he gave the storage bracelet to Wu Zhengjun, not only would he not be helping him, he might even be harming him. After all, storage magic tools were too precious and rare. It was easy to arouse the greed and impulsiveness of some people. In the face of Yu Haoran's criticism, Wu Zhengjun didn't care at all. He used a method that his 5th senior brother Huang Zonghua had taught him to force out a drop of essence blood and then fused it into the storage pouch. Then, he began to act like a child and began to continuously put in and take out items. In this regard, Yu Haoran smiled and shook his head. He didn't remind him or criticize him. This was because when he received his first storage magic tool in his previous life, he had experimented with it more than 10 times like Wu Zhengjun. Therefore, he didn't care about Wu Zhengjun who was experimenting with the storage pouch's function. Yu Haoran directly swam to the side of the jade bed. Looking at the numb expression on Ling Yuan's face, Yu Haoran took a deep breath and then ordered Thaling. Thaling, seal the power of Ling Yuan. Although 2 days had passed and the laws of the rank 5 upper spiritual vein had been restored, with the help of Palace, Yu Haoran was not restricted by the laws of the secret realm. Therefore, Thaling, who was in his sea of consciousness, was also not restricted by the laws of the secret realm. Because Ling Yuan was a stage 5, rank 1 powerhouse, and he was in his main body, the Tower Genie took almost 10 minutes to completely seal Ling Yuan's power. Done. Withdrawing his divine sense, Thaling indicated that the seal had been completed. Thaling released the enchanted beast. After receiving Thaling's signal, Howren continued to signal him to release the similarly sealed enchanted beast. After leaving the victor, the enchanted beast looked at Howren in shock. This was because it did not expect that Howren, who was already very outstanding, was actually hiding the power of the law of time, a treasure that was far superior to ordinary divine artifacts. Mystic, if you still want to live, it's best that you don't reveal anything you saw. Otherwise, even if Howren doesn't kill you, I definitely won't let you go. Seeing that the enchanted beast was about to reveal the secret of the victor, Thowling hurriedly used his divine sense to send a warning to the enchanted beast. Sir Supreme God, Mystic obeys. The enchanted beast, who could also use the power of divine sense, hurriedly replied respectfully. Frowning slightly, Howren did not understand why the enchanted beast, who had left the victor, was looking at him with a complicated expression of shock, fear, and even envy. However, now was not the time to pursue this question, so Howren pointed at the spirit vein. Mystic, look at the spirit vein that has been with you for 100 years. After hearing Howren mention the spirit vein, the enchanted beast temporarily put aside its shock towards the victor and Howren, and turned its head to look at the spirit vein on the jade bed. After seeing the spirit vein's empty and lifeless eyes, the enchanted beast could not help but feel its heart tremble. Although the enchanted beast was selfish and would do anything to protect its own life, it was not that it did not have any feelings for the spirit vein after living with it for 100 years. Chapter 287. High Level 5 Spiritual Pulse. Spiritual Pulse, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have left you behind and run for my life. I shouldn't have stolen your treasures. Along with the enchanting beast's warm caress, the originally empty and lifeless eyes of the enchanting beast slowly regained some color. As the enchanted beast sincerely apologized, the glow in Spiritual Pulse's eyes grew brighter. Brother enchanted beast, why did you leave me alone? As the enchanted beast continued to caress Spiritual Pulse and apologize sincerely, Spiritual Pulse, who had sealed off his consciousness, suddenly asked, Spiritual Pulse, you're awake. The enchanted beast exclaimed in surprise after hearing Spiritual Pulse's question. Howren and the pagoda spirit in his mind heaved a sigh of relief when they saw that the spiritual source had regained consciousness. Using the enchanted beast to awaken Spiritual Pulse was just a gamble that Howren came up with based on his experiences in his previous life. As for whether it would succeed in the end, he had no idea at all. Fortunately, things developed as he expected. Through the enchanted beast's contact, Spiritual Pulse successfully recovered his consciousness. Howren, should we make a move now? Seeing that Spirit Origin had completely regained his consciousness, the tower spirit, who was ready, asked. Let's wait for a while. Shaking his head, Howren signaled Thowling not to make a move for the time being so that Spiritual Pulse and the enchanted beast could have some time to talk. That works too, since the enchanted beast and Spiritual Pulse had already been sealed by him. He wasn't afraid that they would escape. Thus, Thowling didn't say anything else. Turning around, Howren saw that Wu Zhengjun was digging up the level 4 spiritual stones on the wall. His digging speed wasn't slow either, so he didn't disturb him. Instead, he looked at the spiritual liquid at his feet. Thowling, is it possible to open up a space within the victor and store all of this spiritual liquid into the victor? Howren asked expectantly as he pointed at the spiritual liquid under his feet. If Victor could store these spirit liquids, then when his cultivation broke through to the Martial Master Realm, he would be able to borrow Victor's ability to accelerate time, as well as the spirit liquid's ability to improve his physique, allowing him to increase his cultivation and strength even faster. After all, Thowling still had almost a year of accelerated usage time. Yes and no. Thowling gave an ambiguous answer. Thowling? What does that mean? Howren didn't quite understand. That's fine. It's because Victor can create such a space. That's not fine. It's because if you want to maintain the liquefied state of spirit energy, you have to ensure that the vessel that holds the spirit liquids is completely sealed, but it also has to provide spirit energy at all times. Faling looked at Wu Zhengjun, who was digging up level 4 spiritual stones, and said with a teasing tone, "You Haoran, if you're willing to contribute 365 level 4 spiritual stones, I can keep the Victor's spirit liquids in its current state." "Then forget it." Yu Haoran shook his head and directly refused. It wasn't that Yu Haoran couldn't take out 365 level 4 spiritual stones. Apart from his several hundred level 4 spiritual stones that Wu Jingjun was digging up, there were about 900 level 4 spiritual stones in the storage rings of the enchanted beast and spirit source. However, the spirit energy contained in each level 4 spiritual stone was not inferior to the spirit liquids under his feet in terms of cultivation and strength. Moreover, if the spirit liquids were stored in the victor, it meant that only he could use them. This was not in line with his thoughts of taking care of the people around him. Looking at the spirit liquids that filled almost half of the cave, he could only give them up because there was no vessel to hold them. Although Yu Haoran was unwilling, he could only accept reality helplessly. "Yu Haoran, I've already received Spirit Source's forgiveness. He won't seal off his own consciousness anymore." Just as Yu Haoran reluctantly gave up on the spirit liquids under his feet, the enchanted beast, who had finished talking with Spirit Source, replied respectfully. Nodding to indicate that he had done well, Yu Haoran was about to let Faling deal with the enchanted beast when he suddenly remembered that the enchanted beast had lived in the Blue Moon secret realm for over 100 years. There were many rare treasures in his storage ring. Perhaps there was a treasure that could take away a portion of the spirit liquids. "Enchanted beast, do you have any way to take away the spirit liquids?" Yu Haoran asked as he pointed at the spirit liquids under his feet. "Yes." Nodding, the enchanted beast wanted to connect to his storage ring so that he could take out a treasure that could hold the spirit liquids. However, when his spirit could not connect to the storage ring, he remembered that his storage device had been taken away by Yu Haoran. Helpless, he could only smile bitterly. "In my storage ring, there is a palm-sized green gourd." When Palace removed the imprint that the enchanted beast had left on the storage ring, Yu Haoran took the opportunity to leave his consciousness on the storage ring. This meant that the storage ring that the enchanted beast had once used was now Yu Haoran's. Therefore, when he heard the enchanted beast reminder, Yu Haoran quickly connected to the storage ring and found a green gourd. "Yu Haoran, this gourd is not simple. It is a natural treasure that has its own independent space." After Yu Haoran took out the green gourd, Faling, who had scanned it with his spirit sense, could not help but exclaim in surprise. To be able to shock the knowledgeable Faling, Yu Haoran immediately asked with interest, "Faling, how big is the space in this gourd? Can it store the spirit liquids for a long time?" "Storing the spirit liquids is not a problem at all." After a rough estimation, Faling replied, "As for how long it can be stored, as long as the gourd is not destroyed, the effects of the spirit liquids will not be weakened. Instead, as time passes, the effects of the spirit liquids will become stronger and stronger. So powerful." After hearing Faling's introduction of the green gourd, Yu Haoran was pleasantly surprised. He suddenly remembered that in the sacred place of alchemy, the Valley of the Medicine Masters, Yao Lao, who was known as the #1 alchemist in the Tianxian continent, had an identical green gourd on his waist. Could it be that the gourd was the same as the one in his hand, a top-notch treasure that could store spirit energy? However, this question did not bother Yu Haoran for long. His main goal now was to store the spirit liquids in the cave. "Faling, how do I use this gourd?" Looking at the completely sealed green gourd, Yu Haoran really could not find a way to use it. To use a treasure that grows naturally, you must use your soul to temper it and make it your own weapon before you can use it. Faling explained, "I'll leave it to you." The gourd required the tempering of one's soul. After hearing the pagoda genie's explanation, Yu Haoran signaled for him to do it. Okay. After keeping the green gourd in the victor, Faling used his soul to temper it while asking about the spirit source. Turning his head to look at the spirit source, he realized that it was also watching him. After seeing the childlike helplessness and fear in its eyes, Yu Haoran was afraid that he would be soft-hearted and leave it to Faling. "I'll leave it to you. Keep." Chapter 288. Inside the cave, in the upper level 5 spirit vein. The dark azure cloud jade is indeed capable of nourishing the artifact's spirit and spirit. With this jade bed, the injuries to my spirit will have a chance to recover quickly. Thowling, whose body was still in an illusory state, said in a pleasantly surprised tone as he chased the spirit source that was crawling on the jade bed to the side. Then, Thowling controlled the jade bed to move to the top floor of the victor and sat cross-legged on it. Thowling, whose body was originally only slightly fuller, not only did his body become fuller in an instant after sitting cross-legged on the jade bed, but his illusory hands also became fleshy. 10 years, at most 10 years, my spirit will be able to reform and take shape again. Then, I will be able to leave the victor and return to my former glory as the supreme god. Thowling communicated with Yuhauran as he used the dark azure cloud, jade, to heal the injuries to his spirit and stabilize his emotions. Yuhauran, when the natal ritual implement is completely formed, the spirit source will be refined into the ritual implement. Okay, I'll have to trouble you for everything. Yuhauran nodded and thanked him. Yuhauran, what do you plan to do with the enchanted beast? Thowling asked as he looked at the enchanted beast, who was standing beside him with a very respectful expression. After asking this question, Thowling couldn't help but be stunned. He suddenly realized that when he faced Yuhauran, he had been condescending when they first met. He didn't need to ask for Yuhauran's opinion in everything he did. They had been familiar with each other all the way until now, when they interacted as equals. This subconscious change made Thowling realize. As Yuhauran's cultivation and strength increased, the relationship between the two of them would also change from condescending to equal interaction. In the future, Thowling would be in the position of being led by Yuhauran in the future. Fortunately, on the day he reached an agreement with Yuhauran, he was already mentally prepared. Therefore, this change in status didn't make Thowling feel uncomfortable at all. Kill him. Recalling what the enchanted beast had done in the past, especially the 107 exotic beasts in the underground cave, Yuhauran finally made up his mind. Yuhauran, in my opinion, we should keep the enchanted beast alive for now. After all, strange beasts like this that are good at controlling the minds of living beings are extremely rare in the profound sky continent. I don't dare to say that the enchanted beast is one of a kind, but after so many years, I haven't seen many enchanted beasts. Yuhauran's way of dealing with the enchanted beast wasn't out of Thowling's expectations, but Thowling, who had promised to let the enchanted beast live, suggested. Moreover, I suspect that the mysterious man who killed tens of thousands of mythological beasts with the soul-extinguishing bell in ancient times is very likely the ancestor of the enchanted beast. Therefore, let him live. Perhaps he will have a way to deal with the soul-extinguishing bell in the future. After hearing Thowling's suggestion, Yuhauran felt that it made sense and agreed. All right, but you must keep him the victor and ensure that he can never escape your control. In this world, there is no human or exotic beast that can escape from my control. Thowling said in an unusually domineering manner. Then, after keeping the enchanted beast and the victor, Thowling took out the freshly refined gourd. Yuhauran, I've refined the gourd into a magical weapon. You can extract the spiritual liquid from a cave. You can extract the spiritual liquid directly. You don't have to give it to me, Yuhauran said as he looked at the green gourd in his hand. Yuhauran, I've been staying in your knowledge, see to heal. My divine soul has unknowingly integrated with your aura. Therefore, you can directly use the treasures and magical weapons that I've refined. Through a detailed introduction, Thowling further improved the relationship between the two. He also taught Yuhauran how to use the gourd. Thowling, tell me how I should thank you. On the contrary, he could use the treasures and magical weapons that had been refined by Thowling. Yuhauran was very touched by Thowling's actions. All right, don't be so mushy. I need to communicate with the spirit source now. I hope he'll be willing to become an artifact spirit. That way, it'll be more beneficial to improving the quality and power of the life-bound ritual artifact. The tower spirit waved its hand and spoke in a grateful tone that Yuhauran was not used to. Therefore, for the next period of time, if there is no danger, Try not to disturb me. All right, go do your thing. Nodding, Yuhaoran motioned Thaling to go do his own thing first. Then, using the method that Thaling had just taught him, he directly lifted the green gourd and began to extract the spiritual liquid under his feet. The gourd was originally completely closed. As Yuhaoran pinched his hands, the sharp mouth at the top of the gourd automatically opened. Then, a strong suction force, like a whale sucking in water, directly sucked the spiritual liquid under his feet into the gourd. 3 minutes. In just 3 minutes, nearly half of the spiritual liquid in the cave had been sucked into the gourd. Using his consciousness to check the space inside the gourd, he found that so much spiritual liquid only occupied 1/3 of the gourd space. Putting away the green gourd, Yuhaoran's gaze turned to the ground that had been drained of spiritual liquid. Then, an uncontrollable surprise surged in his heart, because the ground that had been drained of spiritual liquid was not ordinary soil. It was all paved with 6th level and 5th level spirit stones, and even many 4th level spirit stones. He bent down and dug out a 6th level spirit stone. Carefully feeling it, he found that although a part of the spiritual chi in the 6th level spirit stone had been lost, it had no effect on the quality of the spirit stone. After careful calculation, the number of 6th level and 5th level spirit stones on the ground made of spirit stones was almost 100,000. Even the 4th level spirit stones were close to 1,000. Looking up at Wu Zhijun, he found that although his mining progress was very fast, because the spirit stones around the wall were too scattered, he had only dug out 1/3 of the spirit stones. "Zhengjun, come down," he called to Wu Zhengjun, who had climbed to the top of the cave. "You shi xiang this." Hearing Yuhaoran's call, Wu Zhengjun directly jumped down, but when he saw the floor paved with spirit stones, he sucked in a breath of cold air and pointed at the spirit stones on the ground, unable to say a word. "Zhengjun, don't worry about the spirit stones on the wall. Use all your strength to mine the spirit stones on the ground." Pointing to the spirit stones on the ground, Yuhaoran ordered as he began to mine them himself. 10 minutes later, Wu Zhengjun, who was holding several 5th level spirit stones in his hand, said with a gloomy face, "You shi xiao, my storage bag is full." Yuhaoran turned his head to take a look and instructed, "Put the spirit stones we've mined aside for the time being and store them all in my storage artifact." 6 hours. It took nearly 6 hours for Yuhaoran and Wu Zhengjun to mine all the spirit stones on the ground. Although they also knew that there were more spirit stones deeper underground, they did not move. Chapter 289. Inside the cave of the rank 5 upper spirit vein. Thaling, help me store these spirit stones into the victor. Seeing that Wu Zhengjun was unable to store the spirit stones in his storage bag and was temporarily piled up at the side like a small mountain, Yuhaoran could only trouble Thaling to use his divine sense to store the spirit stones in an instant. Although it wasn't in any danger, the Tower Genie didn't complain about the nearly 100,000 high-quality spirit stones in the face of it all. "Let's go." After Thaling stored the spirit stones, Yuhaoran looked around the cave. After discovering that there were no valuable treasures left behind, he instructed Wu Zhengjun, "You shi xiao, where are the rank 4 spirit stones?" Wu Zhengjun said with some reluctance as he pointed at the rank 4 spirit stones on the cave wall above his head. "No need." Shaking his head, Yuhaoran walked towards the entrance of the cave. Sigh. Looking at the rank 4 spirit stones on the wall with great reluctance, Wu Zhengjun could only sigh and follow Yuhaoran out of the cave. Ru. When Yuhaoran left the cave and appeared in the spirit fog, the red redwood boar guarding 2 meters away from the cave entrance stood up and snorted at Yuhaoran. "Brother Boar, there are still 2 more days before the secret realm closes. During this time, I might have to go to another place and might not be able to reach the grassland you are at in time." Hearing that the redwood boar intended to leave temporarily and wait until the Blue Moon secret realm closed to meet him at the grassland where they first met, Yuhaoran frowned and said. Subsequently, he remembered that he had to give Du Yuan some poison Dao cultivation experience and secret techniques, so he suggested, "Brother Boar, tearing the void of the secret realm requires Brother Red to personally do it, so I will make a trip to the Red Rocks before the secret realm closes. If you don't mind, I hope that you can wait for me in the poisonous fog of the Red Rocks." After lowering its head and pondering for a moment, the red redwood boar nodded, then turned around and disappeared into the spirit mist. Yu Xixiao, after leaving the Blue Moon's secret realm, will the red redwood boar continue to follow by your side? Looking at the red redwood boar that was quickly leaving, Wu Zhangjun asked with some reluctance. Although the red redwood boar had a plan to approach Yu Haoran, Wu Zhangjun understood the situation after the test of countless spirit stones in the cave. Even if the red redwood boar had its own selfish motives, it had never harmed Yu Haoran. Instead, it had sincerely helped Yu Haoran. Therefore, considering the red redwood boar's outstanding talent and astonishing strength, Wu Zhangjun still hoped that the red redwood boar could follow Yu Haoran back to Clear Cloud Peak and become a member of Clear Cloud Peak. He won't. He has his own path to walk. Shaking his head, Yu Haoran stepped out of the core of the spirit mist. When he arrived at the place where the What I Like staff was originally stored, he discovered that the What I Like staff that was inserted into the ground had already stopped devouring the spirit mist. However, it didn't leave the spirit mist to find him. Instead, it automatically returned to the state it was in when he first met it, which was like a fire stick that was used to cook food. Yu Haoran, it seems that the spirit mist not only healed the injuries of the What I Like staff, but it also had an unexpected effect in stimulating the hidden consciousness of the What I Like staff. At this very moment, the What I Like staff is in the process of giving birth to its own consciousness. After hearing Thaling's explanation, Yu Haoran stared at the What I Like staff. After pondering for about 5 minutes, he opened his mouth and spoke. "What I Like staff, I know your true origins. I also know that with your arrogance, you will definitely look down on a human like me. Therefore, I will give you 2 choices. The first choice is to continue assisting me. In the future, when I become stronger, not only will I help you completely recover, but I will also help you find a suitable master for you. The second choice is for you and me to part ways here." After hearing Yu Haoran's 2 choices, the What I Like staff, which had returned to its fire stick state, instantly turned back into a staff that shone with golden light. After that, the shimmering What I Like staff floated in front of Yu Haoran, as if it was considering whether he was worthy of its following. It didn't take long to consider, only about 10 seconds. The What I Like staff directly soared into the sky, broke through the void, and left the Blue Moon's secret realm. Looking at the What I Like staff that soared into the sky and left the Blue Moon's secret realm, Yu Haoran's face instantly darkened. Although he had given the 2 choices, in Yu Haoran's opinion, he had been in contact with the What I Like staff for such a long time. Furthermore, he had triggered the battle consciousness of the Monkey Emperor and the What I Like staff in the underground Karst cave, allowing them to be more familiar with each other. It should have been willing to follow him. However, the What I Like staff chose to leave. This made Yu Haoran extremely reluctant to part with it, and also made him lose a powerful technique. After all, the secret transformation technique combined with the staff technique that the Monkey Emperor had imparted to him. Under special circumstances, he could unleash the Sky Staff strike of a martial saint expert. Yu Haoran, if you want to leave, then leave. Keeping you in my hands will only be a disaster sooner or later. Thaling was afraid that Yu Haoran wouldn't be able to accept the What I Like staff leaving, so he temporarily stopped threatening the spiritual source and comforted him. "Thaling, is my talent and potential really not as good as the Monkey Emperor of the near ancient era?" Yu Haoran was unconvinced as he asked for confirmation. After hearing Yu Haoran's confirmation, Thaling was instantly speechless. He didn't know how to answer such an obviously idiotic question. Fortunately, the confirmation just now was only a momentary sigh from Yu Haoran. Following that, he returned to normal. Although he had lost the What I Like staff, his gains in the Blue Moon secret realm had far exceeded the value of the What I Like staff. Therefore, Yu Haoran quickly calmed down the reluctance in his heart and continued to walk out of the spirit fog. Yu Xixiao, hearing the footsteps, Lin Mingyao, who was consolidating her cultivation, hurriedly opened her eyes and stood up. After seeing that the people who had come were Yu Haoran and Wu Zhenjun, Lin Mingyao heaved a sigh of relief and enthusiastically greeted them. Nodding at Lin Mingyao, Yu Haoran's gaze turned towards Gong Sun Yiming. Seeing that Gong Sun Yiming's face was abnormally red and that the aura on his body was sometimes strong and sometimes weak, Yu Haoran's expression changed. This was because Gong Sun Yiming's current state was clearly in a state of qi deviation. In a flash, he appeared behind Gong Sun Yiming and placed both his hands on his back. A strong wave of elemental energy forcefully entered his body and began to help him calm down the elemental energy that was running amok in his body. By suppressing the chaotic elemental energy, Yu Haoran finally knew why Gong Sun Yiming had suddenly entered qi deviation. It was because he couldn't control the greed in his heart for the spirit fog and had been desperately absorbing the spirit fog. If it was outside the secret realm, with his own accumulation, not only would he have no problem desperately absorbing the spirit fog, he could also use it to break through to the martial master realm. However, in the Blue Moon secret realm, where the rules of the secret realm were suppressed, he was courting death. Chapter 290. Rank 5 Upper Spirit Vein. After suppressing and sorting out the origin energy in his body for nearly 10 minutes, Gong Sun Yiming finally returned to normal. Yu Xiang, I'm sorry. With the help of the origin energy that had calmed down, Gong Sun Yiming adjusted his breathing for a while. Then, he opened his eyes and apologized to Yu Haoran with satisfaction and shame. Without criticizing Gong Sun Yiming too much, Yu Haoran only reminded him with concern, after the Blue Moon secret realm closes, don't rush to break through to the martial master realm for the time being. When your mental state cultivation surpasses your own cultivation, then you can choose to break through to the martial master realm. Yes, Yu Xiang. All right, everything that needs to be done is done. It's time for us to leave. Yu Haoran instructed indifferently as he looked at the spiritual mist that had thinned by half due to the crazy devouring of the dew as I wish rod. With regards to this, the 3 people standing behind him did not have any objections. When they walked out of the spiritual mist, Yu Haoran indicated to Wu Zhenjun and the rest to wait for a while. Then, he took out a slaughter spirit pill from his storage ear. Seeing Yu Haoran take out the slaughter spirit pill, Thowling reprimanded him with a somewhat unhappy tone. Yu Haoran, I've told you before that I don't want you to use the slaughter spirit pill. Thowling, humans are harmless to tigers, but tigers are harmful to humans. As long as those people follow my instructions and don't enter the depths of the spirit vein without permission, then they won't be harmed by the slaughter spirit pill. Yu Haoran did not stop using the slaughter spirit pill because of Thowling's anger. He directly crushed the slaughter spirit pill in his hand and then used the wind from his palm to send the powder of the slaughter spirit pill into the spiritual mist. One day and one night. The toxicity of the slaughter spirit pill can only last for 24 hours. If they follow my instructions and stay where they are to heal, then they won't be harmed. But if they don't listen, with a sneer, Yu Haoran turned and left the spiritual mist. Looking at the spiritual mist fusing with the slaughter spirit pill, Thowling sighed and didn't try to persuade him any further. Through another exit, Yu Haoran led Wu Zhenjun and the others out of the spirit vein. Standing at the entrance of the spirit vein, Gong Sun Yiming asked, Yu Xiang, where are we going next? According to my master's instructions, there's an elemental energy fruit tree that is about to mature in the Blue Moon secret realm. I will go and fight for a few elemental energy fruits. Yu Haoran said as he turned his head to look at the rank 5 upper spirit vein. Gong Sun Yiming frowned and looked at Yu Haoran in confusion. Elemental energy fruits were generally used by disciples who had reached the peak of 9th grade martial warrior but were unable to break through. Only then would they choose to use elemental energy fruits to break through. And for disciples like Yu Haoran, who could be called monstrous, it was impossible for them to use elemental energy fruits. Facing Gong Sun Yiming's puzzled gaze, Yu Haoran didn't explain too much. There were 3 main reasons why he wanted to fight for the powerless fruit. First, before the Blue Moon secret realm opened, his master Feng Qingyan had told him to find a way to obtain an elemental energy fruit. Second, Qingyan Peak would definitely continue to recruit new disciples in the future. The elemental energy fruit could be used to motivate and reward those new disciples. Third, he planned to use the elemental energy fruit to refine a kind of elixir that could increase the quality of elemental energy. Therefore, not only did he want to fight for the elemental energy fruit, he also wanted to obtain at least 3 of them. Yu Xixiang, I know the exact location of the elemental energy fruit tree. After hearing the conversation between Yu Haoran and Gong Sun Yiming, Lin Mingyao carefully thought about it. She suddenly remembered that when she was captured by Zhao Zong and brought back to the spirit vein by the strange beast, she was awake for a period of time. It was during that period of time, when she was awake, that she inadvertently saw a spirit tree that was the size of 9 fists and emitted traces of elemental energy in a valley. Thinking of the various characteristics of the elemental energy fruit tree, it was very similar to the spirit tree she saw before, so she took the initiative to remind him. Oh, junior sister Lin, where is the elemental energy fruit tree now? Yu Haoran asked in surprise. Although the participating disciples all knew that there was an elemental energy fruit tree in the Blue Moon secret realm, no one knew the exact location of the elemental energy fruit tree. This was because every time the elemental energy fruit tree bloomed and bore fruit, its trunk and branches would wither and its roots would burrow into the ground. When it broke through the ground and sprouted again, the elemental energy fruit tree would randomly appear in another place. Fortunately, after more than 10 explorations during the opening of the secret realm, although the elemental energy fruit tree's location often changed, it mostly appeared in the periphery of the secret realm. This could be considered as giving hope to those disciples who wanted to use the elemental energy fruit to break through to the martial master realm. I'm not sure the exact location because I only inadvertently saw it at that time. So if I want to find the elemental energy fruit tree, I need to confirm based on the familiar environment. Lin Mingyao also lied without blushing. Relying on the comprehension that Lin Mingyao displayed during the entrance disciple test, it could be said that she had a photographic memory. Moreover, in order to be able to escape from Zhao Zong's hands, she had pretended to be unconscious during the journey and had already made a mark. The reason why she lied was because she wanted to spend more time with Yu Haoran. Then, I'll have to trouble junior sister Lin to lead the way, Yu Haoran said helplessly as he glanced at Lin Mingyao. Zhou Mingyao is far inferior to Lin Luoran in terms of life experience and psychological quality when facing difficulties. Although she did not blush just now, she could not control the acceleration of her heartbeat. Through Lin Mingyao's sudden acceleration of heartbeat, Yu Haoran knew that she had lied just now. She definitely knew the exact location of the elemental energy fruit tree. However, thinking that Lin Mingyao was a girl after all, and there was no deep hatred between them, he could not use harsh methods to deal with her. Yu Xixiang, I want to leave for a period of time. After thinking for a long time, Gong Sun Yiming suddenly proposed to leave. Junior brother Gong Sun, there are still 2 days before the Blue Moon secret realm closes. It's not good to continue taking risks during this period of time. Yu Haoran frowned and advised. According to Yu Haoran's original intention, he would bring Wu Xinjun and Gong Sun Yiming to the group of red rocks after fighting for the elemental energy fruit. Firstly, the group of red rocks that had the palace as a town was the safest place in the entire Blue Moon secret realm. Secondly, he also hoped to use these 2 days to allow himself, Wu Xinjun, and Gong Sun Yiming to properly digest the experience they had gained during this period of time so that they could break through to the martial master realm in the most perfect state after the Blue Moon secret realm closed. Yu Xixiang, I have a sister in the ancient town sect that I rely on. In another month, it will be my sister's 16th birthday, which also means that she can participate in the sect's talent and potential test. At this point, Gong Sun Yiming said with a trace of tenderness. So, I've been looking for a stalk of look-setting grass that can maintain one's appearance and a stalk of poria flower that is suitable for foundation establishment. Look-setting grass. Hearing Gong Sun Yiming mention the look-setting grass, Yu Haoran suddenly remembered the task that fifth senior brother had entrusted to him before the secret realm opened. Wasn't it to help his sweetheart find a stalk of look-setting grass that could maintain her appearance? Chapter 291. In the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. Fortunately, the enchanted beast was also interested in the face-setting grass that could allow a girl to maintain her youthful appearance. Therefore, not only did he collect the face-setting grass in his storage ring, he even collected 5 stalks. More importantly, these 5 stalks of face-setting grass were all over 100 years old. In other words, they could allow a girl's appearance to remain unchanged for 100 years. This made Yu Haoran heave a sigh of relief. Otherwise, he would have to waste time searching for the face-setting grass after obtaining the elemental fruit. As for the poria flower that Gong Sun Yiming had mentioned earlier, the enchanted beast storage ring also had it. However, Yu Haoran did not intend to give it to Gong Sun Yiming. Not giving it to him was not because of how precious the poria flower was, nor was it because he was unwilling to part with it. It was because not only could the poria flower not help Gong Sun Yiming build her foundation, it might even weaken her special physique. Junior brother Gong Sun, coincidentally, when I rescued you, I accidentally obtained a few stalks of face-setting grass of good age. Therefore, you don't have to look for them anymore. Yu Haoran said with a smile as he took out a stalk of face-setting grass from his storage ring. Seeing the stalk of spirit grass that was 10 centimeters long in Yu Haoran's hand, Gong Sun Yiming shouted in surprise. This is a 100-year-old face-setting grass that can allow a girl to maintain her appearance for 100 years. Seeing the face-setting grass that Yu Haoran took out, Lin Mingyao's breathing also became heavier and her eyes started to shine. Yu Shixiang, can you give me one too? Although she knew that it was unreasonable to ask directly, Lin Mingyao could not resist the temptation of the face-setting grass to maintain her appearance and asked in a very gentle tone. Here, when he decided to give the face-setting grass to Gong Sun Yiming, Yu Haoran knew that Lin Mingyao would not be able to resist the temptation of the face-setting grass and would definitely ask for it. Fortunately, other than the look-setting grass that he had given to Gong Sun Yiming, he still had 4 stalks of look-setting grass, which was enough to give to the person he wanted. Therefore, in the face of Lin Mingyao's request, Yu Haoran readily agreed. Junior Marshal Brother Gong Sun, if you believe me, it's best that your sister doesn't use the poria flower for her foundation establishment. Unable to explain why he couldn't use the China root flower, Yu Haoran could only rely on his own character and hope that Gong Sun Yiming would believe him. Gong Sun Yiming had read from an ancient book that the poria flower was suitable for martial artists to enter the martial disciple realm. As for the effects recorded in the ancient book and whether it was suitable for his sister, he was also not 100% sure. Therefore, under Yu Haoran's persuasion, Gong Sun Yiming hesitated. Junior Marshal Brother Gong Sun, if you are willing to believe me, when your sister reaches the foundation establishment, I will give her a 10th level, 1st grade foundation establishment pill. Seeing that Gong Sun Yiming had fallen into hesitation, Yu Haoran suddenly felt that there was hope and quickly increased the bargaining chip to entice him. Hearing Yu Haoran mention the foundation establishment pill, Gong Sun Yiming asked in disbelief, Yu Shixiang, is it the foundation establishment pill that is said to be able to build a perfect foundation? Although the foundation establishment pill was not a very high-grade pill, it was the most difficult pill to refine among the low-grade pills. In order to refine the foundation establishment pill, not only did it require a very high level of alchemy skills, but it also required a large amount of precious medicinal herbs. Not to mention the ancient town sect and the 100 Chi Gate. Even in the first-rate sects, only monstrous disciples had the opportunity to use the foundation establishment pill to build a perfect foundation. That's right. Originally, Yu Haoran planned to use another spiritual herb that had similar effects to the poria flower and was very suitable for Gong Sun Yiming to replace the foundation establishment pill. However, When he looked through the collection in the enchanted beast storage ring, he found that the spiritual herbs collected by the enchanted beast were completely suitable for refining the foundation establishment pill. Moreover, the foundation establishment pill that he refined was different from the popular foundation establishment pill in the Tianxian continent. The foundation establishment pill refined in the Tianxian continent was only suitable for new disciples who had just started learning martial arts. The foundation establishment pill that he refined was divided into 10 grades, and each grade corresponded to a realm. In other words, the foundation establishment pill that he refined had the heaven-defying effect of building a perfect foundation for each realm. That's great. After receiving Yu Haoran's confirmation, Gongsun Yiming excitedly expressed his gratitude. Yu Xixiang, I don't have many words of gratitude to say. Just wait and see what we're going to do next. Although he didn't say explicitly, Gongsun Yiming's words just now could be considered as a guarantee. This made Yu Haoran feel that his decision to gift the appearance-fixing grass and foundation establishment pill was correct and worth it. Junior Lin, can we trouble you to bring us to find the elemental energy fruit tree now? Seeing that Lin Mengyao had been observing the appearance-fixing grass and blushing from time to time, Yu Haoran couldn't help but remind her. Okay. Ecstatic, Lin Mengyao put away the appearance-fixing grass and nodded. Then, she turned around and led Yu Haoran and the others straight to the location of the elemental energy fruit tree. In a valley about 600 miles southwest of the Spirit Vein, a group of 7 people from the 100 Chi Gates Achievement Hall was carefully hiding in a bush. Then, they carefully observed the movements in front of them through the gaps in the grass. Senior Run, are you sure the elemental energy fruit tree is in this valley? The woman with a very hot body, surnamed Chun, asked with an impatient expression. Junior Chun, the news that the powerless fruit tree will appear in this valley was personally told by Senior Gong. What do you think I'm not sure? Hearing the woman's question, the disciple, surnamed Run, immediately retorted with displeasure. However, when his gaze swept over the woman surnamed Chin's towering twin peaks, the displeasure in his heart suddenly turned into lust. So it was Senior Gong who provided the news. Hearing the disciple, surnamed Run, mention Senior Gong, the woman surnamed Chin immediately nodded. It was as if Senior Gong was a god, and whatever he said was the truth. Shoo, lower your voice. Someone's coming. Hearing the sound of footsteps behind them, and Ran, who didn't worship Senior Gong and had been paying attention to the surroundings, quietly shushed everyone. Through the gaps in the grass, the 7 people from the Achievement Hall saw a group of more than 40 people rapidly approaching the grass. Senior Run, they wouldn't have discovered us, right? Although her body was very hot, the woman surnamed Chun was very timid. When she saw that the group of people were rushing in the direction of the grass where they were hiding, she immediately asked nervously. I don't know. The disciple, surnamed Run, shook his head. Then, he took a deep breath and ordered the other 6 people. Get ready to fight at any time. After hearing Senior Run's order, the other 3 men and 3 women immediately secretly circulated their elemental energy and prepared to attack at any time. However, the girl hiding at the edge of the grass was only an early 2nd grade martial warrior. Her face was abnormally pale. Run, Werder, I know you're hiding in the grass. The group of more than 40 people suddenly stopped when they were about 10 meters away from the grass. Then a disciple with the same cultivation and aura as a peak 9th grade martial warrior took a step forward. He secretly circulated his elemental energy and shouted at the grass in front of him. Run, Werder, if you don't want to become roasted chicken, you'd better obediently come out. Otherwise, don't blame us for setting you on fire. Chapter 292. In the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. Yuan Li Jun, there is no enmity between you and me. Why are you following us? Seeing that the people behind Yuan Li Jun had already started to prepare torches, Ran Yunda and the others knew that they could no longer continue to hide. In the end, they had no choice but to stand out. As the strongest person in the group, Ran Yunda, who was also named by the other party, took the initiative to stand out and question him. Senior Brother Run, I know that you're Senior Brother Gong's confidant. Senior Brother Gong is also an expert in Fushi's 8 trigrams and is an expert at the peak of 9th grade martial ancestor realm. Yuan Li Jun said politely as he waved his hand, indicating for the few people who had lit the torches to extinguish them. Yuan Li Jun, since you know that I'm Senior Brother Gong's confidant and you know his methods, why do you still dare to follow us and threaten us? Seeing that the other party had directly pointed out his identity and the backing behind him, Ran Yunda immediately became nervous. Just as he had questioned, since the other party dared to continue to follow and threaten him despite knowing his identity, it meant that they had ignored Senior Brother Gong's methods, or that they had a way to avoid Senior Brother Gong's divination. Senior Brother Run, you misunderstood. We did not follow the few senior brothers and junior sisters, let alone threaten you. Yuan Li Jun hurriedly denied as he cupped his fist. Yuan Li Jun, since it is a misunderstanding, we will take our leave first. From Yuan Li Jun's slightly raised lips, Ran Yunda knew that the other party was obviously fooling him. However, he did not want to continue to pursue the matter. He only wanted to leave this place quickly, even if he had to temporarily give up the elemental energy fruit in the valley and the special beast that Senior Brother Gong had specially instructed him to capture. Senior Brother Run, there is no hurry, Yuan Li Jun advised with a smile. After that, he waved his hand, and the 40 people behind him quickly surrounded Ran Yunda and the other 6 people. Yuan Li Jun, what is the meaning of this? Seeing that Yuan Li Jun's people had surrounded him, Ran Yunda, who had mobilized the elemental energy in his dantian and was ready to break out of the encirclement at any time, questioned loudly. Senior Brother Run, don't be so angry. I, your junior brother, have no ill intentions. Facing Ran Yunda's gloomy expression, Yuan Li Jun said with a smile. Boo! Turning his head to look at the 40 over people surrounding him, Ran Yunda took a deep breath before slowly dispersing the essence energy that he had just mobilized, because he knew that it was impossible for the 7 of them to break out of the encirclement. Therefore, whether he chose to surrender or fight to the death, he wanted to know why Yuan Li Jun was following him. Yuan Li Jun, just say it. Why are you following us? That's right, Yuan Li Jun said with a smile when he saw that Run Werder had calmed down temporarily. There is no enmity between us. Wouldn't it be great if we could communicate peacefully? Yuan Li Jun, I don't have time to listen to your nonsense. Just state your intentions. Interrupting Yuan Li Jun's mischievous smile, Run Yunda tried his best to control his emotions and shouted. Seeing that Leap Cloud's anger had reached its limit, Yuan Li Jun did not continue to provoke the other party's patience and directly stated his intentions. According to the information I received, Senior Brother Gong, who is proficient in Fushi's 8 trigrams and is good at calculating fate, had once inadvertently calculated that after the opening of the Blue Moon secret realm this time, an extremely precious wind-tailed fox that could reach the 3rd order honorable realm in the future would appear. Is that right? Where did you hear this news from? Hearing Yuan Li Jun mention the wind-tailed fox, Run Yunda's expression changed as he shouted. When he participated in the Blue Moon secret realm's trial this time, Senior Brother Gong had entrusted him with 3 missions. The first mission was to find a way to use the special environment of the Blue Moon secret realm to eliminate the Achievement Palace's biggest enemy, Yuhauran. This was also the main reason why he had been protecting the girl called Jingya, because Senior Brother Gong had used Fushi's 8 trigrams to calculate that the girl called Jingya had a very special relationship with Yuhauran. Not only would the 2 of them meet in the secret realm, Yuhauran would also take care of Jingya until the secret realm closed. The second mission was to capture a newly born wind-tailed fox whose intelligence was still in its infancy and was suitable to sign a beast pet contract. Wind-tailed fox was one of the few overlords among the thousands of beasts in the profound sky continent that inherited the bloodline of an ancient divine beast. The bloodline of a 9-tailed fox had the potential to reach the peak of the Emperor realm. In the future, it would at least reach the 3rd order honorable realm. Of course, The reason why Senior Brother Gong wanted him to capture the wind-tailed fox was not to sign a beast pet contract with the wind-tailed fox. Instead, he planned to use the wind-tailed fox to propose to a peerless beauty who had the support of the top forces in the profound sky continent behind her. No, to be more precise, he planned to use the wind-tailed fox to win the heart of that woman. After all, with that woman's appearance and background, there were too many young talents who did not lose to Senior Brother Gong in terms of talent and potential. They were all madly pursuing her. The third mission was to find a mutated beast that was good at controlling spiritual sense and give it a jade scroll. The Blue Moon's secret realm had been open for 8 days, and he had not completed any of the 3 missions. He was already very frustrated. Now that the secret of the wind-tailed fox had been leaked, how could Runyunda not be shocked and furious? Looks like I guessed correctly. Not only does the wind-tailed fox exist in the Blue Moon's secret realm, it is very likely to appear in this valley. Through Runyunda's loss of composure, the astute Yuan Lijun not only confirmed his guess, but also deduced the exact location of the wind-tailed fox. Yuan Lijun, the wind-tailed fox, is very important to Senior Brother Gong. If you dare to fight for the wind-tailed fox with me, Senior Brother Gong will definitely not let you off after the Blue Moon's secret realm closes. Since the other party had already seen through his loss of composure, Runyunda did not hide anymore and directly threatened him. Waving his hand, Yuan Lijun acted as if he did not care about Runyunda's threat or was not afraid of Senior Brother Gong behind him. He continued to speak of his second intention. Senior Brother Run, it is said that there's a 3-colored cloud lotus in the Blue Moon's secret realm that can be directly refined into a King Stage Extreme Great Artifact. I wonder if Senior Brother Gong has revealed its exact location to you? Originally, Runyunda was furious because the other party had guessed his mission. However, when he heard the other party mention the 3-colored cloud lotus, a strange smile immediately appeared on his face. Yuan Lijun, it looks like your information is outdated. The tricolored cloud lotus in the Blue Moon secret realm has already advanced to a 5-colored cloud lotus. As long as you use the tempering method, you can directly refine it into a supreme Great Emperor defensive arcane artifact. What? The 3-colored cloud lotus has advanced to a 5-colored cloud lotus. Not noticing the strange smile that flashed across Runyunda's face, Yuan Lijun asked in surprise. That's right. Nodding his head, Runyunda did not hide anything about the advancement of the 3-colored cloud lotus. Instead, he directly pointed out the exact location of the 5-colored cloud lotus. There is a natural swamp about 2,500 miles southeast of this valley. The 5-colored cloud lotus is in the swamp. Chapter 293. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's secret realm. Regardless of Runyunda's intentions, Yuan Lijun was still very grateful that he could directly reveal the specific situation and location of the 5-colored cloud lotus. This was because as long as he could confirm the information and location of the wind-tailed fox and the 5-colored cloud lotus, it could be considered as completing the instructions given to him by his backer. Then, for Yuan Lijun, the mission of the Blue Moon's secret realm this time could be considered as having completed more than half of it. Since Senior Brother Run is so cooperative, then Junior Brother isn't someone who doesn't know what's good for him. Senior Brother Run can leave now. He waved his hand at the dozens of junior brothers who had trapped Runyunda, and those people immediately made way for him. Junior Brother Yuan, you only want to ask these 2 questions? Seeing Yuan Lijun take the initiative to make way for him, Runyunda asked in disbelief. That's right, only these 2 questions. Yuan Lijun nodded his head and replied with a smile. If that's the case, then we'll take our leave first. Cupping his fist, Runyunda gave the 6 people behind him a look and then took a step forward to leave. Although they had leaked the location of the wind-tailed fox and lost the opportunity to capture the wind-tailed fox, Runyunda knew that without special means, it wouldn't be an easy task to capture the wind-tailed fox with its extreme speed. Therefore, even if the information about the wind-tailed fox was leaked, he still had full confidence that the wind-tailed fox would still be his in the end. Senior brother Run. You can leave, but she and her must stay. After Run Yunda and the other 4 disciples left the encirclement, the dozens of people who had made way for Enran and Jingya immediately surrounded them again. Junior brother Yuan, what's the meaning of this? Seeing Yuan Lijun alone, surrounding Jingya and Enran, Run Yunda secretly felt that something was wrong and questioned. Senior brother Run, don't worry. I won't make things difficult for the 2 junior sisters. After the Blue Moon Secret Realms training ends, they will return to the sex safe and sound. Yuan Lijun replied to Run Yunda's question as he gestured for everyone to close in. Junior brother Yuan, that girl called Jingya is only an ordinary disciple of our achievement hall. I wonder why junior brother Yuan wants to keep her? Run Yunda was obviously not very satisfied with Yuan Lijun's answer. The reason why he had been deliberately protecting Jingya and even sacrificed the lives of the other 3 junior brothers was not because he thought highly of her, but because he wanted to use her to lure Yu Haoran out and then use the treasure that senior brother Gong gave him to directly eliminate Yu Haoran. If Jingya was not by his side, even if he found Yu Haoran, how could he get close to Yu Haoran? If he couldn't get close to Yu Haoran, how could he have the chance to use that trump card that would kill anyone who touched it? Senior brother Run, I just said that these 2 girls are of great use to me, so you can leave now. Run Yunda and Un and Sex Run to the Yunda by Yun Yunda Yun Sect Yunda Run Run. Ignoring Yuan Lijun's threat, Run Yunda shook his head and pleaded. Junior brother Yuan, you can leave Enran behind, and you can even leave Qinfeng behind, but you can't leave Jingya behind. Hearing that Runyan Daning was willing to sacrifice himself in exchange for Jingya's life, both Enran, who was surrounded, and Qinfeng, who had already escaped from the encirclement, turned pale. As for the ordinary-looking Jingya, she looked at Run Werder with a blank face. She didn't know why senior brother Run valued her so much that he didn't hesitate to sacrifice her 2 senior sisters, Enran and Qinfeng. Run Yunda, could it be that you plan to rely on your own strength to save this girl, called Jingya, from our hands? Yuan Lijun glanced at Run Yunda and the 3 disciples behind him in disdain. Then he mobilized the Yuan power within his dantian and ridiculed them in disdain. Seeing Yuan Lijun mobilizing his essence energy, Run Yunda knew that it was impossible to take Jingya away through threats and begging. Instantly, he fell into a difficult situation. Yuan Lijun, if Run Yunda isn't qualified, then what about me, Yu Haoran? Just as Run Yunda fell into a dilemma, a loud and clear, questioning voice suddenly came from the entrance of the valley. Who is it? As he asked loudly, Yuan Lijun turned his head to look. You're finally here. Hearing the familiar name, Run Yunda also turned his head to look. His face revealed a trace of joy. The 9th disciple of Feng Qingyun of the 100 Qi Gates, Qingyun Peak, Yu Haoran. While introducing himself, Yu Haoran walked towards Yuan Lijun. If one were to observe carefully, they would discover that Yu Haoran's gaze wasn't fixed on Yuan Lijun. Instead, he had been paying attention to the girl called Jingya behind Yuan Lijun. Of course, there was an observant person at the scene. Through careful observation, he discovered that Yu Haoran was looking at Jingya with a special gaze. And this person was Run Yunda. Looking at the constantly approaching Yu Haoran, Run Yunda was secretly delighted. At the same time, he slowly took out a black ball that was only the size of a longan fruit. It was pitch black in color and had 9 layers similar to the obsidian ball. Then, he held it tightly in his hand. As the saying goes, one can wear out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it by chance without any effort. Looking at Yu Haoran and the others who were striding into the valley, Yuan Lijun suddenly laughed. He signaled the people behind him to get ready, and said with a smile, Yu Haoran, you made me look for you so hard. Yuan Lijun, I'm afraid it's not you who is looking for me. It's Song Fondong who is behind you who is looking for me. Standing 3 meters away from Yuan Lijun, Yu Haoran directly pointed out the origin of Yuan Lijun's backer. Hearing Yu Haoran point out the name of the person behind Yuan Lijun, Run Yunda immediately repeated in shock, Song Fongdong? Could it be that he has the best talent and potential in the Qingqing sect? He's also good at Fui 8 trigrams, proficient in the art of divination, and is said to be able to become a martial venerable in the future. Song Fongdong. Then, an expression of sudden realization suddenly appeared on his face. No wonder you, Yuan Lijun, can keep following us and not be afraid of the threat of Senior Brother Gong. You have Song Fongdong behind you. Yu Haoran, how did you know? Yuan Lijun's face darkened, and he immediately asked with a murderous look. As a very important genius disciple in the Meteor sect, his special relationship with Song Fongdong was not known to many people in the Qingqing sect, let alone the Meteor sect. Therefore, Yu Haoran directly pointed out his background. How could Yuan Lijun not be nervous? How could he not have a murderous look in his heart? After all, the Meteor sect was a subsidiary sect of the 100 Qi Gate. If the news of their elite disciples colluding with the Qingqiang sect, the enemy of the 100 Qi Gate, not only would the Meteor sect be blamed by the 100 Qi Gate, but he, as the culprit, would definitely be subjected to the cruelest torture. Yuan Lijun, the relationship between you and Song Fongdong is not as hidden as you think. As long as someone is interested, they can find out. Moreover, I also know that several senior members of the Meteor sect are also very aware of the relationship between you and Song Fongdong. The reason why they haven't made it clear and take care of you is that they have long had the idea of betraying the 100 Qi Gate. They're just waiting for the opportunity, indicating that Yuan Lijun did not need to be nervous. Yu Haoran bluntly stated the attitude of the senior members of the Meteor sect. Chapter 294. Within the Valley of the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. The reason why Yu Haoran knew of the special relationship between Yuan Lijun and the Qingqiang sect Song Dongfang was because in his previous life, when the 100 Qi Gate was destroyed, the Qingqiang sect, which was also a second-rate sect, had secretly sent a group of martial ancestor and martial king experts to participate in the battle. Although the experts that the Qingqing sect secretly sent did not besiege the Qingyan Peak, when he retreated from the sect, he personally witnessed a brilliant battle between peak 9th grade martial king experts. He personally witnessed the battle of reputation between the two prides of a generation. The two prides of a generation referred to the Qingqiang sect's Song Fongdong and the 100 Qi Gate's Gong Yuyuan. Yu Haoran, what do you mean? Yu Haoran's persuasion just now seemed to be for his sake, but also seemed to be dissatisfied with the attitude of the upper echelons of the 100 Qi Gate. This made Yuan Lijun a little confused. Nothing. Waving his hand, Yu Haoran pointed at Jingya behind Yuan Lijun and asked, Yuan Lijun, can you tell me why you want to detain these two girls? Actually, when Run Yunda was surrounded by Yuan Lijun's subordinates, Yu Haoran had already arrived in front of the valley. However, he did not take the risk to help and only stayed on the spot to observe. He planned to first understand the reason why Yuan Lijun was surrounding Run Yunda before deciding whether to help or not. Therefore, when Run Yunda said that he wanted to take Jingya away, Yuan Lijun did not hesitate to fall out with him to detain Jingya. This made Yu Haoran feel very puzzled. If Jingya's appearance was not inferior to Lin Mingyao's, or if she was a monstrous genius with talent and potential like him, then Yuan Lijun's action of detaining Jingya was understandable. However, just as Run Yunda said, Jingya was only an ordinary girl in the achievement hall. What value did she have to make both sides not hesitate to fight to the death? Hearing Yu Haoran's interrogation, Yuan Lijun lowered his head and did not know how to answer. As for Run Yunda, he became even more nervous. Because Qingyun City Song Fongdong was also proficient in Fushi's gossip and was good at divination, he was worried that Song Fongdong would be able to divine the special relationship between Jingya and Yu Haoran. Is it inconvenient to say, or you don't want to say it? Seeing the hesitant Yuan Lijun, Yu Haoran's face instantly darkened as he asked in a harsh tone, Yu Haoran, do you really think you're some big shot? Why do I have to answer whatever you ask? Originally, in the face of Yu Haoran's relentless questioning, Yuan Lijun was already considering whether or not to reveal the reason for leaving Jingya behind. However, a thin and weak young man with a somewhat feminine appearance quietly pulled on his sleeve. Then, he signaled Yuan Lijun to look at the people behind him. Yuan Lijun immediately reacted. He, who had an absolute advantage in terms of numbers, should have been the stronger side. However, because Yu Haoran had revealed his background, his momentum had weakened a lot, causing him to turn from the strong side to the weak side. At this moment, under the reminder of the people beside him, Yuan Lijun immediately reacted and angrily reprimanded. Frowning slightly, Yu Haoran glanced at the disciple who had just reminded Yuan Lijun. His eyes flashed with a trace of fierce killing intent. In the 8 days of training in the secret realm, the number of people who had died directly or indirectly by his hands was at least 700 to 800, if not 1,000. If those disciples in the spiritual vein were unable to control the greed in their hearts and rushed into the spiritual mist deep in the spiritual vein, the number of people who had died indirectly by his hands would be at least 1,000. Therefore, Yu Haoran did not want to indiscriminately kill Yuan Lijun in a situation where there was not much hatred between them. Therefore, he used the advantage of words and psychology to get Yuan Lijun to reveal the truth. However, since the first method of coercion did not work, he could only use the second method, which was to kill the other party until they were scared out of their wits and had no choice but to take the initiative to reveal the truth. Therefore, Yu Haoran ordered Wu Xinjun and Gongsun Yiming behind him. Except for Yuan Lijun, don't leave anyone else alive. Yu Shixiang, give me 5 minutes. After hearing Yu Haoran's order, Gongsun Yiming gave a time limit. Yu Shixiang, give me 3 minutes. Wu Xinjun, who was not convinced, directly shortened the time by 2 minutes. Facing Wu Zhengjuan's provocation, Gongsun Yiming was not convinced and challenged. Senior Marshal Brother Wu, let's split in half. Let's see if I can finish off my opponent in 5 minutes, or you can kill him in 3 minutes. Ever since he decided to betray the ancient town faction and join Qingyun Peak, Gongsun Yiming clearly realized that if he wanted to obtain the greatest benefits in Qingyun Peak, his true reliance was not Feng Qingyun, who had the highest status and cultivation, nor was it the eldest senior marshal brother who was in charge of Qingyun Peak. Instead, it was Yu Haoran, whose talent and potential could be said to be monstrous, who was completely independent and had many tricks up his sleeve. Therefore, if he wanted to obtain Yu Haoran's trust and become his most trusted confidant, he had to do his best to perform well and also strive to surpass Wu Xingjun. All right, Wu Xingjun, who originally only wanted to use 50% of his strength, agreed with a grin after seeing Gongsun Yiming's challenge while activating his bloodthirsty physique. Soon after, the two of them directly charged into the 40 over people surrounding Jingya and ran. Yu Haoran, you are too arrogant. After hearing the bet between Wu Xinjun and Gongsun Yiming, Yuan Lijun was so angry that he laughed instead. Do you think that with just those 2 people, you can defeat my junior martial brothers? Hearing Yuan Lijun's rebuttal, Yu Haoran could not help but frown. In the 8 days that the Blue Moon secret realm had been opened, Yuan Lijun had not come into contact with the disciples and had not heard of his and Wu Zhengjuan's fame in order to complete the sect's mission. However, Gongsun Yiming was different. This was because not only was he the strongest martial warrior in the ancient town faction, he was also very famous in the 100 Qi Gates affiliated sections. With just him alone, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to slaughter these 40 or so martial warriors from the 7th to the 9th level. However, although he was puzzled, Yu Haoran did not pursue the matter. This was because in at most 2 or 3 minutes, Yuan Lijun would probably take the initiative to ask him. Contrary to Yu Haoran's expectations, Wu Xingjun, who had his dantian purified by the cold air of the Yin Spring, and Gongsun Yiming, who had used the spirit mist to increase his cultivation and strength, were much stronger than before. At the same time, in order to prove that their strength was more powerful, the two of them not only used their full strength, but also used their strongest methods. In just a short minute, more than 20 people had been slaughtered. This caused Yuan Lijun, who originally despised Yu Haoran for being too arrogant, to change his expression. Pointing at Wu Zhengjun and Gong Sun Yiming, Yuan Lijun asked with a trembling voice, "Yu Haoran, who are they?" Originally, Yuan Lijun did not think highly of Wu Zhengjun and Gong Sun Yiming. However, after hearing the screams behind him, he quickly turned his head to look. At this moment, Yuan Lijun could no longer pay attention to his junior, who was being slaughtered. Instead, he stared at Wu Zhengjun and Gong Sun Yiming, who had unleashed their full strength. This was because he realized that Wu Zhengjun and Gong Sun Yiming, who had unleashed their full strength, were far stronger than the strongest core disciples in the martial warrior realm of the Meteor sect. Chapter 295. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. Unlike Yuan Lijun, whether it was Yu Haoran's follower, Wu Zhengjun, or the young genius of the ancient town sect, Gong Sun Yiming, Run Yenda knew both of them. However, the strength of the two of them was vastly different from what the rumors said. This made Run Yenda start to worry. He was worried that if he used the method left behind by senior brother Gong to eliminate Yu Haoran, would it cause the crazy revenge of Wu Zhengjun and Gong Sun Yiming? Yuan Lijun, if you say that you don't know Wu Zhengjun, who is emitting a bloody aura, then it's still acceptable. However, you don't even know Gong Sun Yiming, who is the most outstanding talent and potential among the young generation of the ancient town sect, and who is the strongest in the martial warrior realm. This makes me feel very surprised. Yuan Lijun, I'm starting to doubt if you were a disciple of the Meteor sect. Until now, Yuan Lijun still hadn't recognized Gong Sun Yiming's origin. This made Yu Haoran start to doubt his identity. So it's him. When he heard Yu Haoran mention Gong Sun Yiming, Yuan Lijun suddenly revealed a look of realization. In fact, Yuan Lijun couldn't be blamed for not knowing Gong Sun Yiming. This was because he had only been a disciple of the Meteor sect for a short period of time. Furthermore, he didn't stay in the sect most of the time. He had been secretly carrying out the missions that Song Dongfang had given him, not to mention the genius disciples of the 100 Qi Gates affiliated sects. He wasn't even familiar with many of the elite disciples of the Meteor sect. When Wu Zhengjun and Gong Sun Yiming had slaughtered only 5 or 6 people, Yu Haoran asked with a smile, "Yuan Lijun, I don't know what gives you the confidence to continue to refuse my questions." Although Yu Haoran had a smile on his face, Yuan Lijun knew that if he dared to refuse to answer his questions, the other party would immediately turn hostile. The result of turning hostile wasn't something that he could bear. Furthermore, when senior brother Song had given him the mission to capture Wind-tailed Fox, he had said that there wasn't much hope and that he could only do his best. Therefore, in order to protect his life, Yuan Lijun didn't plan to continue hiding it. "Yu Haoran, the reason why I kept these 2 girls." Yuan Lijun pointed at Jingya and said, "According to senior brother Song, this girl has a very rare wind crystal body, which has a special attraction to the wind-tailed fox. With this girl, we can easily capture the wind-tailed fox." "What? Wind crystal body?" Hearing Yuan Lijun say that Jingya had the wind crystal body, Yu Haoran shouted in disbelief. "She didn't even was bodies and body. 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 Girl didn't body. Body. Therefore, Yu Haoran didn't believe Yuan Lijun's words. Just when Yu Haoran didn't believe Yuan Lijun's words, Thowling in his sea of consciousness confirmed, "Yu Haoran, that kid didn't lie. That little girl you've been paying attention to indeed has the rare body of wind crystal. Pagoda spirit, I had a very good relationship with this girl called Jingya in my previous life. We had interacted for a very long time, and I had personally witnessed the entire process of her tragic death. However, from the beginning to the end, I had never seen her reveal any trace of her wind crystal body. Even with Thowling's confirmation, Yu Haoran still found it hard to believe. Yu Haoran, how much do you know about the body of wind crystal?" Facing Yu Haoran's disbelief, Thowling directly asked him about his understanding of the body of wind crystal. The body of wind crystal is one of the 9 variants of the body of wind. They all possess special abilities. Warriors who possess the wind crystal body have an innate affinity with the power of the wind element that is beyond imagination. Regardless of whether it is the cultivation method of the wind element or the martial skills of the wind element, they're all far stronger than warriors with ordinary wind element constitutions. That's all. Hearing Yu Haoran's brief description of the body of wind crystal, Thowling continued asking. That's all. Regarding the body of wind crystal, Yu Haoran had learned about it from a jade slip in a cave left behind by a peak 9th grade martial saint in his previous life. The description of the body of wind crystal was just this brief. Yu Haoran, the body of wind crystal is a combination of the body attribute and the special body. It is a very special body. If we were to say that Wu Zhongjuan's bloodthirsty body is ranked 100 out of thousands of special body attributes, then the body of wind crystal, which is a combination of the special body attribute and the body attribute, is roughly ranked 20. So powerful. The body of wind crystal was actually comparable to the special body attribute that was ranked 20. This made Yu Haoran feel extremely shocked. Although it is powerful, the body of wind crystal is the same as the special body attribute. It belongs to the category of latent body attributes. If it is not activated, it is basically unable to display any of the advantages of the body of wind crystal. Moreover, as the body of wind crystal is a combination of the body attribute and the special body attribute, the process of activating is several hundred times more difficult than activating the special body attribute. Yu Haoran, I'll explain it to you like this. Out of 1,000 people who possess the body of wind crystal, only one person will be lucky enough to activate it. So it's like this. After hearing Thowling's explanation, Yu Haoran finally understood why Jingya was so ordinary in his previous life. Originally, the body of wind crystal that she possessed had never been activated. After confirming that Jingya possessed the body of wind crystal, Yu Haoran suddenly felt puzzled by the relationship between the wind-tailed fox and the body of wind crystal that Yuan Lijun had just mentioned. Thowling, Yuan Lijun just said that the body of wind crystal that Jingya possesses has a special attraction to the wind-tailed fox. What is this all about? The ancient divine beast, the nine-tailed fox, was the king of the 9 divine beasts that used the soul-extinguishing bell and slaughtered tens of thousands of divine beasts. As the wind-tailed fox that possesses the bloodline of the ancient divine beast, the nine-tailed fox, it is not possible to completely activate the bloodline of the king of divine beasts in its body through simple cultivation and advancement. In order to successfully activate the bloodline of the ancient divine beast, the nine-tailed fox, one must rely on the aura of the body of a martial artist who possesses the body of wind crystal to activate the bloodline of the divine beasts in the body bit by bit. As a martial artist who possesses the body of wind crystal, in order to truly activate the body of wind crystal, one must rely on the bloodline of the nine-tailed fox in the body of the wind-tailed fox to activate it. Therefore, no matter if it is the little girl who possesses the body of wind crystal or the wind-tailed fox who possesses the bloodline of the ancient divine beasts, there's a mutual appreciation between them. I see. Through Thowling's introduction, Yu Haoran finally understood why Yuan Lijun, or the person behind Yuan Lijun, Song Dongfang, wanted to keep Jingya. At the same time, he also understood why Runwerder wanted to take Jingya away. It was all because of the wind-tailed fox. Yuan Lijun, Jingya is Yu Haoran's benefactor. I am now responsible for her safety. Therefore, you can scram now. After understanding the reason for all this, Yu Haoran was happy for Jingya and did not have much killing intent towards Yuan Lijun. Therefore, he waved his hand, indicating that Yuan Lijun could leave. Really? Yuan Lijun asked in disbelief that Yu Haoran was willing to let him go. Could it be that you wanted to make a move? Yu Haoran glared at Yuan Lijun and asked unhappily. Chapter 296. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. Hello, junior sister Jiang. Taking a deep breath and barely suppressing the excitement in his heart, Yu Haoran walked in front of Kong Yung-ah and greeted her with a smile. Jingya greets you, Xixiao. Raising her head and glancing at Yu Haoran, Kong Yung-ah quickly lowered her head. Not only was her voice so soft that no one could hear it clearly, she also subconsciously moved closer to Enran, who was stronger than her. Actually, Kong Yung-ah couldn't be blamed for being so nervous and fearful. It was mainly because Yu Haoran's fame in the 100 Chi Gate was too great. The first time she saw Yu Haoran was when he was being forced by the Achievement Hall Master, Jia Tongxi. He used all sorts of unimaginable methods to force the black and white deacons of the law enforcement peak to stand on his side. In the end, he even lured out the 3 gate masters, forcing Jia Tongxi to have no choice but to flee for his life. In the end, he was sentenced to death by the sect. The second time she heard about Yu Haoran was when he killed his way to the law enforcement peak to avenge her eldest senior brother. After transforming into a giant monkey, he fought the law enforcement peak's peak master, Gao Wanping, who was at the peak of 4th grade Martial King. In the end, not only did he force Gao Wanping to admit defeat, he also allowed him to empty the entire law enforcement peak's treasury. The third time she heard about Yu Haoran was when they accidentally met a few disciples of the Gate Master's faction a few days ago. From them, she learned that Yu Haoran was like a homicidal maniac, slaughtering those who were greedy for storage magic tools. And this time, Yu Haoran had a numb expression as he ordered his subordinates to slaughter over 40 Meteor Sect disciples. Facing Yu Haoran, who killed without blinking and was secretly called a homicidal maniac, how could the timid Kong Yung-ah not be nervous? How could she not be afraid? Hello, Yu Shixiao. My name is Enran. Enran, who had outstanding looks, greeted Yu Haoran generously. Hello, junior sister Enran. Yu Haoran nodded at Enran and continued to stare at Kong Yung-ah. Junior martial sister Jiang, did you come to this valley to look for the elemental fruit? Well, my talent and potential are too poor. If I don't have the Yuanli fruit, I'm afraid it will be difficult for me to break through the martial master realm in 3 to 5 years. Seeing that Yu Haoran's attitude wasn't as scary as the rumors made it out to be, and was instead very gentle, Kong Yung-ah, who was originally very nervous, relaxed a little and raised her voice a little. Okay, you can count on me for the elemental energy fruit you want. After getting Kong Yung-ah's confirmation, Yu Haoran patted his chest and promised. Also, when your cultivation reaches the peak of Grade 9 Martial Warrior, I will give you some elixirs and spirit stones that can help you break through to the Martial Master Realm. At this moment, whether it was Wu Jingjun, Gong Sun Yiming, Lin Meng Yao, or Enran, all of them could see that Yu Haoran's concern for Kong Yung-ah was somewhat abnormal. After all, Kong Yung-ah's reaction showed that the two of them were meeting for the first time. The first time they met, Yu Haoran had not only promised to help Kong Yung-ah obtain the powerless fruit, but he had also promised to give her a large amount of elixirs and spirit stones. Even a ghost would not believe that there was no problem with this. Regarding this, Wu Jingjun and Gong Sun Yiming didn't think too much about it. As long as they could stay by Yu Haoran's side, become stronger together with him, and fight together with him, it would be fine. As for which woman he fancied, that was his own private matter. However, to Lin Meng Yao, Yu Haoran's concern for Kong Yung-ah from the bottom of his heart made her feel a serious threat. However, what she couldn't understand was how Kong Yung-ah could compare to her in terms of appearance, character, talent, and potential. Why was Yu Haoran so cold to her, but so concerned for Kong Yung-ah from the bottom of his heart? As for Enran and Chen Feng, they looked at Kong Yung-ah with envy and jealousy. Like Lin Meng Yao, they couldn't understand why Yu Haoran was so concerned and protective of Kong Yung-ah. Junior sister Jiang, if you have any other requests, feel free to state them. Whether it's climbing a mountain of blades or diving into a sea of fire. As long as I, Yu Haoran, am able to do it, I'll do my best to help you. Perhaps it was because he had the opportunity to directly repay Kong Yung-ah's kindness in his past life. Even though his mental cultivation was about to break through to the martial saint realm, Yu Haoran found it hard to control the excitement in his heart. He did something that shocked the crowd, or at least incomprehensible. Yu Haoran, calm your breath and focus your mind. Control your emotions that are about to go out of control. Fortunately, due to Kong Yung-ah's wind crystal body, Thaling, who was in his consciousness, had been paying attention to the situation at the scene. She noticed Yu Haoran's abnormality in a timely manner and quickly used her divine sense to remind him while trying her best to calm his agitated emotions. Thaling, thank you. Under Thaling's reminder, Yu Haoran immediately calmed down. While feeling a lingering fear, he quickly took a deep breath and suppressed the boiling emotions in his heart. Yu Haoran, no matter what relationship you had with this girl named Jingya in your past life, you must remain calm now. Only in this way will you not arouse the suspicion of others. Only in this way will you not lose control of your emotions and lead to a breakthrough that is difficult to suppress. After seeing Yu Haoran calm down, Thaling warned him. Thaling, don't worry, I'll remember. Responding to Thaling's words, Yu Haoran still had a smile on his face at the moment, but the enthusiasm just now had faded a lot. Yu Shi Xiang, no need, one elemental energy fruit is enough for me. Yu Haoran's series of promises and guarantees just now made Kong Yunga shocked, and a strong sense of doubt emerged in her heart. This was because she did not know why Yu Haoran, whom she had met for the first time, would take care of her so much, and why would he be so enthusiastic towards her. Yu Shi Xiao, hello. Just as Kong Yunga rejected Yu Haoran's enthusiasm, Ran Yunda, who had been struggling with his thoughts for a long time, finally decided to carry out the task given to him by Senior Gong. As for whether or not he would receive revenge from Wu Zhijun and Gong's son Yiming afterwards, he believed that with Senior Gong's influence in the 100 Qi Gate, it would be enough to make them afraid to make a move. Junior brother Ran, hello. Towards Ran Yunda's greeting, Yu Haoran kindly nodded in response. Although the relationship between him and the Achievement Palace Hall was not very harmonious, and it could be said that there was a deep hatred between them. After all, the Achievement Palace Hall master, Jia Tongxi, was killed by him. However, since Ran Yunda had protected Kong Yunga with all his might, Yu Haoran remembered this favor in his heart, regardless of whether he had selfish motives or not. Yu Shi Xiao, before the opening of the Blue Moon Secret Realm, Senior Gong had used Fushi's 8 trigrams technique to calculate that the wind-tailed fox in this valley was a baby wind-tailed fox that had just been born and its intelligence was still in its infancy. As he mentioned Gong Yiyuan's calculation of the wind-tailed fox, Ran Yunda lowered his voice and approached Yu Haoran. With regards to this, not only did Yu Haoran not have the slightest suspicion, but he was attracted by his words and subconsciously took the initiative to approach Ran Yunda. Jingya, who possessed the wind crystal body, had a natural and special connection with the wind-tailed fox, which possessed the bloodline of the ancient divine beast, the nine-tailed fox. If the nine-tailed fox that appeared in the valley was still in its infancy, then not only would it allow Jingya to get along better with the nine-tailed fox, but they would also be able to directly sign a pet beast contract. Chapter 297. In the Valley of the Blue Moon Secret Realm. Explode. Seeing that Yu Haoran had completely let down his guard, Ran Yunda couldn't help but rejoice in his heart. He held the small black ball tightly and detonated it with his yuan li before quickly retreating to the entrance of the valley. Ran Yunda, if you hadn't used this extremely compressed black birth ball to attack me, I'm afraid that even if I didn't die, I would have been seriously injured. Just as Ran Yunda escaped to the entrance of the valley, Yu Haoran's voice suddenly sounded from within the black fog formed by the explosion of the small black ball. He suppressed his anger and rejoiced. Following a strong gust of wind, the black fog formed by the small black ball was gradually dispersed, revealing Yu Haoran who was standing within the black fog. At this moment, other than his gloomy expression, Yu Haoran did not have any injuries on his body. Impossible! This extremely compressed black birth ball came from the 5-poison sect's Old Devil Yin Yuan. The poison contained within the black birth ball is enough to kill a peak 9th grade Martial King expert. How can you be completely fine? Seeing that the black fog had dispersed and Yu Haoran did not receive any injuries, Ran Yunda shouted in disbelief. According to Senior Brother Gong, who had given him the black birth ball, this black birth ball had been compressed by the Yin Yuan Old Devil. It had been refined using the black flames of 28 spirit herbs. Its power was not only strong enough to kill a peak 9th grade Martial King expert, it could even kill a 1st grade Martial King expert. What about you, Howren? How could he, who was only a 9th grade martial warrior, escape from the poison? Run Yunda, you're courting death. Just now, Run Yunda's sneak attack was too sudden, and Wu Jingjun and the rest did not react in time. Although Yu Haoran did not receive any injuries, to Wu Jingjun and Gong Sun Yiming, this was a humiliation that could not be washed away. Therefore, the two of them exploded with all their strength and anger and quickly rushed towards Run Yunda. Wu Jingjun, Gong Sun Yiming, do you dare to touch me? Don't you know that my backer is the #1 genius of the 100 Qi Gate, Gong Yuyuan? Or can you bear the anger of Senior Gong Yuyuan Gong? Seeing Wu Jingjun and Gong Sun Yiming rushing over, Run Yunda was not the slightest bit nervous. His expression was arrogant as he threatened them. After hearing Run Werder's threat, Gong Sun Yiming hesitated for a moment. In the future, he would definitely join the 100 Qi Gate. Was it worth it to offend Gong Yuyuan now? However, to Wu Jingjun, he had never heard of Gong Yuyuan. Even if Gong Yin was the sect leader of the 100 Qi Gate and an expert whose cultivation had reached the martial emperor realm, the fact that he had dared to sneak attack and injure Yu Shixiao, who he respected the most, made him his mortal enemy. Therefore, in the face of Run Yunda's threat, Wu Jingjun, who had completely activated his bloodthirsty physique and erupted with all his strength, was like a homicidal maniac. He directly rushed in front of Run Yunda and seriously injured him with just one move. If Yu Haoran had not stopped him in time, Wu Jingjuan's second move would have blown his head apart. He glanced at Wu Jingjun, who was emitting a strong murderous aura and ignoring Run Yunda's threat. He then glanced at Yu Haoran, who had regained his composure and was now emitting a trace of coldness. Gong Sun Yiming thought about how he had hesitated and decided to stop him in the end. He knew that his performance just now had most likely disappointed Yu Haoran. Thinking about how he had disappointed Yu Haoran at least 3 times since the White Jade Dragon Python, Gong Sun Yiming could not help but blame himself. He blamed himself for worrying too much. Did he still have a trace of distrust towards Yu Haoran in his heart? Gong Sun Yiming was blaming himself and reflecting because of his hesitation. Yu Haoran, who had survived the explosion of the Blackbird sphere, was also blaming himself and reflecting at the same time. Ever since he had been reborn, he had relied on his previous life's cultivation experience and the all-knowing and omnipotent Thaling's assistance. Whether it was his talent, potential, cultivation, or strength, he had far surpassed his peers. This had filled him with a sense of superiority, and at the same time, he had also gradually become arrogant, especially in this trial in the Blue Moon Secret Realm. Relying on his previous life's experience, he had befriended Pallas, who could command the Secret Realm's rules. Relying on his outstanding alchemy skills and strategies, he had met one of the Secret Realm's overlords, the Purple Gold Condor, and killed the Prairie's overlord, the White Giant Wolf. He had also relied on the secret transformation technique to defeat the rank 5 first-rank spirit source, defeated the soul extinguishing bell, which was born from the chaos at the beginning of the world, and captured the enchanted beast, which was adept at controlling the minds of living creatures. All these achievements had gradually formed a kind of contempt in his heart. He even believed that no one among his peers would be able to harm him. Not only was this kind of thinking very dangerous, if he was not careful, it was very likely that he would lose his life. Yu Haoran, you don't have to blame yourself too much. Compared to other geniuses of the same level, you have already done very well. The main reason why you did not guard against Run Werder's sneak attack was because you had lost control of your emotions just now, causing your vigilance to be at its most relaxed state. Seeing Yu Haoran, who had been silent all this time, Thaling, who understood his character, knew that he was now blaming himself. In fact, although Thaling was a little angry that he did not detect Run Werder's sneak attack in advance, he also knew that this was not Yu Haoran's fault. It can only be said that Run Werder was too cunning and had perfectly used the right time place, and people. Fouling, I'm fine. Self-blame was a very necessary method in the process of cultivation. Through self-blame, one would discover one's own shortcomings and then correct them through self-reflection to avoid making the same mistake in the future. With his strong psychological quality, Yu Haoran quickly ended his self-blame and self-reflection and adjusted his state of mind. Then, he went straight to Run Werder, who had been severely injured by Wu Zhengjun. However, when he passed by Gong Sun Yiming, he paused for a moment and turned his head to look at Gong Sun Yiming, who had a satisfied and guilty expression on his face. Sighing in his heart, Yu Haoran shook his head, but in the end, he did not say anything and continued to walk towards Run Werder. In fact, just as Gong Sun Yiming had thought in his heart, nothing could be done once or twice, but not thrice. Being indecisive and full of worries 3 times in a row made Yu Haoran very disappointed in him. This was because a person with such a character would probably not be able to follow him to conquer the world in the future, and he would not be at ease to entrust his own safety to him. Therefore, although he wouldn't refuse Gong Sun Yiming's entry into the Clear Cloud Peak, just because he was disappointed with Gong Sun Yiming, it was unlikely that he would treat Gong Sun Yiming as his confidant like how he treated Wu Jun and the 8 senior brothers of the Clear Cloud Peak. Chapter 298. Due to some personal matters, the remaining 3 chapters will be updated a little later. Sorry. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's Secret Realm, Yu Haoran, before the incident with Hall Master Jia, our Hall of Merit could be said to be the #1 faction in the 100 Chi Gate. Regardless of whether it's the Sect Masters faction or the Enforcer Peaks faction, anyone who sees our Hall of Merit would be courteous. When receiving and exchanging cultivation resources, not only would they have to be humble, they would also have to privately contribute some rebates. Otherwise, don't even think about exchanging any cultivation resources in our Hall of Merit, even if it's the lowest grade 10th level, 1st grade Spirit Stone. Raising his head to look at Yu Haoran, Run Yunda said with hatred. But now, after losing the Hall Master and a few experts, the Hall of Merit has not only been squeezed out of the top 3 in the Sect faction, but even some disciples from ordinary factions dare to shout at us. Yu Haoran, tell me, how can there be no grudges between us? Yu Haoran could not believe the reason given by Run Yunda for the sneak attack. Although the Hall of Merit had lost the Hall Master and a few experts because of him, the Hall of Merit did not lose too many advantages due to the uniqueness of the Hall of Merit. Moreover, without the evils of Jia Tongxi and the rest, not only did the Hall of Merit's strength not decrease after being reorganized, its reputation was even more loved and respected by the disciples of the sect. Therefore, the reason given by Run Yunda just now was not valid. Run Yunda, since you dared to sneak attack me, you must have understood my character beforehand. I'm not a very patient person, so you'd better tell the truth. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless. Yu Haoran threatened. Yu Haoran, I'm the most valued disciple of Hall Master Jia. I'm avenging my master. Seeing that Yu Haoran did not believe the reason just now, Run Yunda, who was already prepared, said another reason that seemed reasonable, but actually could not stand up to scrutiny. Run Yunda, the reason why I was able to find evidence of Jia Tongxi intercepting the sect's resources and colluding with the enemy forces back then was because I knew him very well. Frowning slightly, Yu Haoran did not believe the second reason given by Run Werder. Not only is Jia Tongxi a selfish person, he is also very suspicious. It is very difficult for him to trust others. Not to mention a trusted aide, he has only taken 1 disciple. At this point, Yu Haoran suddenly recalled Jia Tongxi's only disciple. Wasn't he the Gong Yu Yuan that Ran Yunda had mentioned when he was threatening Wu Zhengjun and Gong Sun Yiming? Thinking that Gong Yu Yuan was a genius who was good at Fushi gossip and was proficient in the art of divination, Yu Haoran gradually understood some of the connections. Back then, the reason why he wanted Jia Tongxi to pay the price, other than the fact that Jia Tongxi wanted to pocket the reward for clearing the secret realm, was mainly because of Kong Yong-ah. With Gong Yu Yuan's methods, Although it was impossible for him to calculate his relationship with Kong Yung-ah in her previous life, he could calculate that she had a very special relationship with him through the events that happened that day. In other words, the reason why Gong Yun arranged for Run Yunda to lead and protect Kong Yung-ah's safety, other than wanting to use Kong Yung-ah to lure and capture Wind-tailed Fox, was probably also to use Kong Yung-ah to get rid of him. After thinking through all of this, Yu Haoran did not feel the slightest pressure. Instead, an endless fighting spirit rose in his heart. After experiencing the experience and gains in the Blue Moon Secret Realm, Yu Haoran was confident that he could raise his cultivation to the peak of a 9th grade martial master in the shortest amount of time and possess the strength of a martial ancestor. At that time, among the disciples of the same generation in the 100 Chi Gate, there would not be a single person who could be his opponent. This would cause him to unknowingly loosen his expectations of himself. Now, with Gong Yun, who was known as the #1 genius in the 100 Chi Gate and whose strength had reached the peak of a 9th grade martial ancestor, he would be able to raise his cultivation and strength even faster. Junior brother Gong's son sent him on his way. Since he already knew who the mastermind was, Run Yunda, who was a chess piece, had no value. Therefore, as Yu Haoran turned around and walked towards Kong Yung-ah, he instructed Gong's son Yiming. Of course, this was also to give Gong's son Yiming a choice. Although Yu Haoran was very disappointed in him due to his indecisiveness and misgivings 3 times, it was impossible for him to treat him as a trusted aide in the future. However, no matter what, after the Blue Moon Secret Realm trial ended, Gong's son Yiming would betray the ancient town sect with his sister, Gong's son Yuding, and join the Clear Cloud Peak. Yu Haoran hoped that through Gong's son Yiming's current choice, he would be able to determine whether the siblings would directly become disciples of the Clear Cloud Peak or become disciples of the second senior brother. Yes, without the slightest hesitation, Gong's son Yiming calmly walked towards Run Yunda. Gong's son Yiming, if you dare to kill me, when the Blue Moon Secret Realm trial ends, it will be the day that senior brother Gong takes your and your sister's heads. Although his expression was calm, his body gradually emitted a dense, killing intent. Run Yunda knew that Gong's son Yiming had completely unleashed his killing intent. Therefore, he continued to use Gong's son Yiming, hoping that he would be able to intimidate Gong's son Yiming into not daring to make a move. Unfortunately, Gong's son Yiming knew that this was his last chance to obtain Yu Haoran's approval. How would he dare to hesitate? Ignoring Run Yunda's threat, he threw a heavy punch towards his head. After Gong's son Yiming killed Run Yunda, Yu Haoran's gaze turned towards the other 4 disciples from the Achievement Palace Hall. Yu Xixiang, my name is Chun Feng. Although I am also a disciple of the Achievement Palace Hall, Jia Tongxi and Run Yunda have nothing to do with me. I will not seek my own death for a stranger and a dead person. Seeing Yu Haoran's gaze, Chun Feng hurriedly explained. However, when she saw that Yu Haoran did not intend to deal with her, Chun Feng, who had a plan, purposely puffed out her chest and said in a sweet voice, Yu Xixiang, junior sister, not only do I have a good relationship with junior sister Jingya, but my talent and potential are also very ordinary. I wonder if senior brother can also gift junior sister an elemental energy fruit. Glancing indifferently at Chun Feng, Yu Haoran said without a trace of interest, depending on one's luck and strength, it will belong to whoever gets it. Then, ignoring Chun Feng's instantly gloomy face, he turned his gaze towards the other 3 male disciples. These 3 male disciples also repeatedly assured that they had nothing to do with Run Yunda and Jia Tongxi, and that they would not seek revenge on Yu Haoran for these 2 people. The elemental energy fruit in the valley has no fate with you. Leave now. Since he had already expressed his attitude, Yu Haoran did not want to create too much killing, and he did not want to leave a bloodthirsty impression in front of Kong Yung-ah. Therefore, he waved his hand and directly drove the 3 male disciples out. As for Chun Feng, although Yu Haoran knew that her relationship with Kong Yung-ah was not as close as she had said, in the face of such a beauty, it was difficult for him to drive her out with a straight face. According to the experience accumulated by the sect over the years, the elemental energy fruit, is almost ripe at this time. Junior sister Jiang, why don't we set off now? After adjusting, Yuhaoran was able to face Kong Yung-ah calmly and would not lose control of the situation at the beginning. Moreover, he had just promised to give Kong Yung-ah a powerless fruit, so Yuhaoran took the initiative to ask. Chapter 299. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. Although the valley with the elemental energy fruit tree wasn't very big, the environment inside was very complicated. Not only were the trees in the valley abnormally tall and luxuriant, but there were also many strange beasts roaming around. Fortunately, Yuhaoran's group was very strong, and the strange beasts roaming around were also very ordinary. Facing the strange beasts that ambushed and obstructed them, there was no need for Yuhaoran to personally make a move. Gong's son Yiming, with the mentality of atonement, killed all the strange beasts that blocked their way by himself. After passing through dozens of strange beasts, 3 luxuriant forests, and a continuous stream, Yuhaoran finally brought everyone to the center of the valley, which was also where the elemental energy fruit tree grew. However, Yuhaoran's group wasn't the first group to arrive at the center of the valley. When they passed through a group of rocks and appeared in the center of the valley, there were already hundreds of people gathered in front of the elemental energy fruit tree. Raising his head to take a look, Yuhaoran's face revealed a trace of a smile, because he actually found a familiar face in this group of people. Meng Shitty. Yuhaoran warmly greeted Meng Danwei, who was standing at the edge of the crowd and seemed a little lonely. Hearing someone calling him, Meng Danwei hurriedly turned his head to take a look. His originally nervous expression relaxed, and at the same time, he revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. Meng Fanwei rushed to Yuhaoran's front in a few steps and said excitedly, "Yushi Xiao, I knew you were very lucky. Those who coveted the magic artifacts on your body will definitely not succeed. Meng Shitty, why are you here?" When he first met up with Wu Jingjun, he had briefly introduced Meng Fanwei's situation. From Yuhaoran's point of view, even with the healing pills that he had given to Meng Fanwei would need at least 2 to 3 days to fully recover. At the same time, this valley was about a few thousand miles away from the place where Meng Fanwei was ambushed. On the way, he would have to pass through several dangerous places. With his strength alone, it would be difficult for him to reach here. Moreover, with his own talent and potential, he could easily break through to the martial master realm without the help of the primordial energy fruit. There was no need for him to take the risk to compete for the primordial energy fruit. Alas, after hearing Yuhaoran's question, Meng Fanwei sighed and turned his head to look at the crowd. There was a slender girl with long hair and a shoulder length. He had a very helpless expression as he explained. "Yushi Xiao, I'm not afraid that you'll laugh at me if I tell you. Back then, after I was separated from senior brother Wu, I found a secluded place. With the help of the pills that you gave me, I spent nearly 2 days to barely recover from the serious injuries that I suffered from the ambush. Originally, after losing the protection of my senior brothers, I had already stopped my training in the Blue Moon Secret Realm. I planned to stay in the safe area and wait for the secret realm to close. However, just as I was about to finish my treatment, I accidentally encountered a blue glazed tiger at the peak of the 7th rank of the 9th rank. At this point, Meng Fanwei felt a lingering fear as he spoke. "Yushi Xiao, even if I was at my peak, I would not be a match for a blue glazed tiger at the 7th rank of the 9th rank, let alone the fact that I had yet to fully recover from my injuries." At this point, Meng Fanwei turned his head and pointed at a girl that he had been looking at earlier. "It was all thanks to Yujia's timely appearance and help that I was able to keep my life. In the past few days, it was also thanks to Yujia's help and companionship that not only did I completely recover from my injuries, but I also gained a lot from the secret realm. Now, not only has my talent and potential doubled, my cultivation has also increased to the peak of the 4th rank of martial warrior. Before the secret realm closes, I have a high chance of breaking through to the 5th rank of martial warrior. Yujia, Yu Haoran was not very interested in what Meng Danwei had encountered during this period of time. However, when he mentioned Yujia, a girl with a strange appearance vaguely appeared in Yu Haoran's mind. Meng Shidi, the girl you're talking about, could it be Meng Yujia from the Heart Moon sect? Junior Sister Meng? Yu Haoran probed. Yu Shixiang, could it be that you know Junior Sister Meng? Hearing Yu Haoran mention Yujia's origin and surname, Meng Fanwei felt very strange. Because of her unique appearance, Meng Yujia felt very inferior. She rarely appeared in front of others and would not participate in the exchanges between the sect's disciples. Not to mention the subsidiary sects of the 100 Chi Gate, even the Heart Moon sect, there were very few people who knew about Meng Yujia. I don't know her, but I've heard of her before. Shaking his head, Yu Haoran's gaze turned towards the slender girl. Yujia. When Meng Fanwei saw Yu Haoran notice the girl with an outstanding figure who had her back facing the crowd, he hurriedly greeted her. When the slender girl with long hair turned around, Gong Sun Yiming and Wu Jingjun, who were originally looking forward to whether this girl had a peerless appearance, felt a sourness in their stomachs at the same time. Uncontrollable disgust appeared on their faces. Even Lin Mengyao and Ran, Chun Feng and Kong Yong-ah, who were also women, could not help but frown. This was because the girl who turned around did not have the peerless beauty that they had imagined. Instead, she was an ugly girl who gave people a sinister feeling. However, facing this ugly girl, Yu Haoran did not show a trace of disgust. Instead, he greeted her very warmly. Hello, Junior Sister Meng. My name is Yu Haoran. I'm from the 100 Chi Gates, Qingyun Peak. Facing Yu Haoran's warm greeting that did not have a trace of hypocrisy or disgust, Meng Yujia could not react for a moment. Because from the moment her appearance changed, not to mention her friends, even her parents could not face her calmly. In the end, they were chased out of the house. If it was not for her outstanding talent and potential, and her advantage in cultivating spiritual herbs that surpassed ordinary people, the elder of the Heart Moon sect who was treated by her would not have recruited her into the Heart Moon sect. Yu Haoran was the first person who did not feel disgust because of her ugly appearance after her appearance changed. He was also the first person who was willing to take the initiative to greet her. This made her feel excited as if she had met a confidant. Yu Shixiang, hello, my name is Meng Yujia. I'm from the Heart Moon sect's spiritual medicine hall. Meng Yujia replied after barely calming her excitement. Junior Sister Meng, Meng Shidi is one of the few junior brothers in the sect that I have a good relationship with. So thank you for lending a helping hand when Meng Shidi was in danger and taking care of him for such a long time. Yu Haoran also hoped to establish a good relationship with Meng Yujia in advance by apologizing on behalf of Meng Fanwei. Chapter 300. In the Valley of the Blue Moon Mystery Realm. In her past life, not long after the Blue Moon Mystery Realm had ended, the Valley of the Medicine Masters, who was known as the #1 alchemist in the Tianxian continent, had passed by the Heart Moon sect when the Valley of the Medicine Masters was out traveling. After accidentally seeing Meng Yujia's outstanding talent in cultivating spiritual herbs, Yao Lao used special methods to test her and finally found out that Meng Yujia had a very rare special constitution, the body of the spirit medicine. The body of the spirit medicine was the most suitable special constitution to become an alchemist. Among the thousands of special constitutions, it was ranked 25th. According to the records of the Tianxian continent, if a person with the body of the spirit medicine could enter the path of alchemy, the lowest achievement in the future would be a 9th grade martial honorable. The lowest level of alchemy could become a saint-level alchemist. A saint-level alchemist. It had been hundreds of thousands of years since a saint-level alchemist had appeared in the Tianxian continent. Therefore, after discovering that Meng Yujia had the body of the spirit medicine, the Valley of the Medicine Masters, Yao Lao, not only announced that he would take Meng Yujia as his last disciple on the spot, he even gave the Heart Moon sect a large number of pills. This was also the main reason why the Heart Moon sect was able to stand out from the dozens of third-rate sects affiliated to the 100 Chi Gate and become a second-rate sect after the 100 Chi Gate was destroyed. Yu Haoran clearly remembered that when his cultivation had broken through to the martial emperor realm, he had participated in a grand alchemy competition held by the medicine masters. It was during that grand alchemy competition that he saw Meng Yujia, who had regained her peerless beauty and had already advanced to the martial emperor realm. To be honest, in his past life, Lin Mingyao had hurt his feelings and he had been on the run for his life. This had caused him to be extremely closed off to his feelings. However, Lin Yujia, who had regained her peerless beauty, had opened the door to his feelings for a short period of time and made him want to pursue her. Yu Shixiang, this is what I should do. There's no need to thank me. Meng Yujia waved her hand and said with her head lowered out of habit. That's right, junior sister Meng. With your talent and potential, you don't need the elemental force fruit. So why did you bring Meng Shitty here? Other than the first exchange of glances, Meng Yujia had been speaking with her head lowered. Yu Haoran knew that this was because of her inferiority complex. Although he also wanted to change Meng Yujia's inferiority complex, the time wasn't right yet, so he could only change the topic for now. Yu Shixiang, don't you know that when the elemental energy fruit ripens, it will attract 3 kinds of special beasts? Glancing at Yu Haoran from the corner of her eyes, Meng Yujia asked in confusion. Moreover, these 3 special exotic beasts are very suitable to become pet beasts. Frowning slightly, Yu Haoran turned to look at Gongsun Yiming and Lin Mingyao in confusion. The land route where the elemental energy fruit ripens can attract 3 kinds of special beasts. Have you heard of it, Yu Shixiang? I've never heard of him. Gongsun Yiming thought about it carefully and shook his head. Also thinking about it carefully, Lin Mingyao shook her head, indicating that she had never heard of him. What about you? Looking at Kong Yung-ah and Ran and Chun Feng, Yu Haoran continued to ask. Kong Yung-ah and the other 2 also shook their heads. Junior sister Meng, I wonder what 3 kinds of special beasts will be attracted when the elemental energy fruit ripens? Seeing that the people around him had never heard of this news, Yu Haoran felt that something was wrong and quickly asked Meng Yujia. Yu Haoran's puzzled expression just now and his questioning of the people around him also made Meng Yujia feel that something was wrong, so she didn't hide anything. Yu Shixiang, when the elemental energy fruit ripens, it will attract the wind-tailed fox with the bloodline of the ancient divine beast nine-tailed fox, the double-winged tiger with the bloodline of the ancient divine beast white tiger, and the unicorn with the bloodline of the ancient divine beast heavenly winged horse. Wind-tailed fox, double-winged tiger, and unicorn. Hearing Meng Yujia mention 3 special beasts, Yu Haoran couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Because any of these 3 beasts with the bloodline of the ancient divine beast had an extraordinary origin. Any one of them could become a rank 3 exalted realm powerhouse in the future. Any one of them was enough to cause countless people to crazily chase after them. Moreover, the enchanted beast had once used the double-winged tiger with the bloodline of the ancient divine beast white tiger to attract the elite disciples of the Blue Moon secret realm, so that it could capture them as sacrifices for the blood sacrifice formation. Thinking of this, Yu Haoran hurriedly asked Thaling to ask the enchanted beast whether the news of the double-winged tiger in the Blue Moon secret realm was a lie, or was it real? Yu Haoran, something's not right, Thaling said with a grave expression after communicating with the enchanted beast. Thaling, what's wrong? Every time Thaling revealed such a grave tone, it meant that he was about to encounter a big problem. Not only is the news of the double-winged tiger and unicorn true, there are also other beasts with the bloodline of the ancient divine beast kings. Thaling said with a slightly suppressed tone. What? There are even beasts with the bloodline of the ancient divine beast kings. After hearing Thaling's explanation, Yu Haoran didn't feel that he was in trouble, but that he had encountered a huge problem. Raising his head, Yu Haoran glanced at the elemental energy fruit with 9 longan-sized fruits hanging 100 meters away. He discovered that the elemental energy fruit was only about 10 minutes away from ripening. Although the disciples surrounding the elemental energy fruit were all staring at it, Howard discovered that the disciples with outstanding talent and potential were paying more attention to the situation around them. Junior Sister Meng, when and where did you find out that the elemental energy fruit would attract 3 kinds of special beasts when it ripened? Howard, who felt that there was a conspiracy, quickly asked. 3 days ago, I accidentally found out from a few disciples of the Meteor sect. Meng Yujie said truthfully. Meteor sect? It was actually spread by the disciples of the Meteor sect. Hearing the information provided by Meng Yujie, the figures of Song Fongdong and Yuan Lijun immediately flashed through Howard's mind. After that, he cast his gaze back to the crowd and discovered that not only were there disciples of the Meteor sect among the disciples surrounding the elemental energy fruit tree, there were also quite a few of them. This made him somewhat puzzled. However, considering the seriousness of the matter and the fact that he possessed the Vajra monkey's blood essence, he could at most transform into a 9th-grade martial king. In order to be safe, Howard could only take the risk and ask for help from a friend. Thaling, can you use your divine sense to send my consciousness into the underground cave? Yes. Without the restrictions of the Secret Realm's rules, with Thaling's ready-made recovery strength, although his divine sense couldn't cover the entire Blue Moon Secret Realm, extending it to the underground cave in the depths of the Secret Realm was not a problem. If that's the case, then I'll have to trouble you. Hearing that Thaling could do it, Howard's originally nervous mood immediately relaxed a lot. Looking left and right, Howard walked to a rock and sat down cross-legged. Then, he said to Wu Zhengjun, Gongsun Yiming, and Meng Yujie. Chapter 301. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. Senior brother, don't worry. Standing in front of Howard, Wu Zhengjun directly activated his bloodthirsty physique. Yu Shixiang, unless I, Gongsun Yiming, die, no one will be able to get close to you. Gongsun Yiming, who was eager to atone for his sins, solemnly promised. Yu Shixiang, thank you. In their first meeting, in just a few minutes of communication, Howard had given her the important task of protecting him. This meant that not only did Howard not hate her because of her ugly appearance, but he also trusted her very much. This made Meng Yujie feel that she was trusted and valued. And this feeling was what she had always longed for, and what she had always been pursuing. Thaling, let's begin. Howard's consciousness left his physical body and entered the victor after transforming into a body. Then, he instructed the Thaling that had already been prepared. A powerful divine sense wrapped around Howard's consciousness. Then, with a speed that was hundreds of times faster than the wind, he appeared in the underground Kar's cave. Who is it? Palace, who was burying his good friend's corpse, immediately asked with a stern expression after sensing the energy fluctuation of the divine sense. Brother Chi, it's me, Howard hurriedly said, afraid that Palace would suddenly attack. Brother Yu, what are you doing? Palace was very curious about Howard's method of only hearing his voice but not being able to see his body. Brother Chi, I used a special secret technique to temporarily separate my consciousness from my body, so you don't have to be alarmed. Although he was protected by the Thaling's divine sense, being separated from his physical body too far made Howard's consciousness a little weak. Therefore, after briefly explaining the reason for his appearance here, Howard directly stated his purpose for coming here. Brother Yu, there are indeed beasts in the demon-sealing secret realm that have inherited the bloodlines of the 9 great divine beasts. Nodding, Palace confirmed Howard's question. Brother Chi, it's not that I'm looking down on you, but you, who possess 3 ordinary divine beast bloodline inheritances, regardless of whether it's your own talent and potential or the inheritances within your bloodline, I'm afraid that you're not as outstanding as those mutated beasts with the bloodline inheritances of the 9 great divine beast kings. If there really are such special beasts in the mystic realm, and there are 9 of them, then the position of the mystic realm's overlord won't be yours. With Scarlet Swallow's confirmation, Howard believed that there were indeed 9 such unique beasts in the hidden territory. However, he did not understand why the palace could tolerate their existence. Brother Yu, you're right. Yu Howren's belittling example didn't make Palace angry. Instead, he nodded and admitted it. The 9 mutated beasts with the bloodline inheritances of the ancient divine beasts far surpass me in terms of strength, mental cultivation methods, and martial skills. In order to ensure my position as the overlord of the mystic realm, and also to protect my character and Brother Du's character, other than the heaven-tailed fox that I couldn't catch up to and the red-horned beast that stood aloof from worldly affairs, the remaining 7 mutated beasts were all killed by me before they could grow up. At this point, the scarlet-loathed beast did not hide anything. Brother Yu, when we parted 2 days ago, you were shocked at how I was able to command the mystic realm's rules. Actually, it was because after I killed the 7 mutated beasts with the bloodline of the ancient divine beasts, I devoured and refined part of their inheritances. This allowed my strength, although I couldn't surpass the limits of the mystic realm's rules, but I had the means to defeat and even destroy the mystic realm's rules. I see. Yu Howren was very touched when he heard Palace talk about the things he had done in secret. Brother Yu, when I killed the 7 special mutated beasts, not only was I fast, but I was also very discreet. I can guarantee that in the entire demon-sealing mystic realm, other than Brother Du Yuan, no other mutated beast knows about the origins of the 9 special mutated beasts. Then, how did you know about the origins of the 9 special mutated beasts? After answering Yu Howren's question, Palace hurriedly asked the question he didn't understand. After all, the ancient divine beasts had always been worshipped and revered by all the mutated beasts in the demon-sealing mystic realm. If he killed their descendants who had inherited their bloodline, he would definitely attract the hatred and disgust of all the mutated beasts in the mystic realm. Therefore, he had made careful calculations when he attacked. Not only did he have to ensure that he could kill them successfully, he also had to ensure that he wasn't discovered by the other mutated beasts. At the same time, although he wasn't afraid of the mutated beast's hatred and revenge with his current strength, he still needed to know who was the one who had drawn hatred for him for no reason. He told Palace everything he had seen and heard in the valley in detail. Yu Howren was also hoping that Palace would be familiar with the demon-sealing mystic realm to deduce the mastermind behind the entire scheme. Brother Yu, due to the extremely pure yuan Li contained in the elemental fruit, whether it's for you human cultivators breaking through to the martial master realm, or for us mutated beasts advancing to the 8th rank, it's an unimaginable help. After hearing Yu Howren's explanation, Palace couldn't guess who the mastermind behind the scheme was. Therefore, he could only slowly search for clues left behind by the mastermind behind the scenes. However, due to the restrictions of the demon-sealing mystic realm, no mutated beast is allowed to exceed the 8th rank. Therefore, for the mutated beasts in the demon-sealing mystic realm, the elemental fruit that can directly break through to the 8th rank is not a spiritual fruit that can increase their strength, but a poison that can take their lives. Unless it's a mutated beast or a 10th rank mutated beast, the mutated beasts above the 9th rank won't fight for the elemental fruit, nor will they appear in the valley. However, at this point, Palace paused for a moment, and a look of reminiscence appeared on his face. However, among the 9 mutated beasts that I didn't kill, Wind-tailed Fox, due to its special physique, could guarantee that its strength wouldn't advance to the 8th rank after absorbing the body-refining elemental fruit's medicinal power, nor would it trigger the restrictions of the mystic realm. If there's a mutated beast that could appear in the valley, I'm afraid it's only Wind-tailed Fox. Brother Chi, do you suspect that Wind-tailed Fox is the one who leaked the secret of the 9 mutated beasts in the demon-sealing mystic realm? Yu Howren took the opportunity to ask. Other than Wind-tailed Fox, I really don't know who else in the demon-sealing mystic realm has this kind of strength, and who else would have this kind of idea, Palace confirmed with a nod. Seeing that Palace was suspecting Wind-tailed Fox, Yu Howren was worried that Kong Yung-ah would have a conflict with Palace because of Wind-tailed Fox. At the same time, he had some doubts in his heart. Other than the unicorn that stood aloof from worldly affairs and wouldn't have any conflict of interest with Pallas, the other 7 mutated beasts that had inherited the bloodlines of the ancient divine beasts had all been killed and devoured by Pallas. Then, in order to save his own life, it was reasonable that wind-tailed fox leaked the secret realm that contained the bloodlines of the 9 divine beasts. Chapter 302. In the depths of the secret realm, in the underground cave, Brother Chi, is the wind-tailed fox in the demon-sealing secret realm a juvenile, an adult, or an infant? Regardless of whether it was a conspiracy or an overt one, the final result of a painstaking plan was to obtain sufficient benefits. Revealing the secret of the 9 divine beast king's bloodline in the demon-sealing secret realm was the key to proving that the wind-tailed fox was the mastermind behind the scenes. Then, what could the wind-tailed fox obtain? By revealing the secret of the 9 divine beast king's bloodline, it could provoke Pallas' anger and lure him into the valley, then use the trap to kill Pallas. As the one who could command the demon-sealing secret realm's power, Pallas' true strength and methods had almost reached the limit of the demon-sealing secret realm. If the wind-tailed fox wanted to use the trap to kill Pallas, it could not lose to Pallas in terms of strength. Otherwise, it would be like Zhao Sinyu's trap of using the storage device against him. Not only would it fail, but it would also arouse his determination to kill Zhao Sinyu. As the inheritor of the 9-tailed fox's bloodline, the wind-tailed fox's talent, potential, and bloodline inheritance were all outstanding. However, if it wanted to defeat Pallas, it would need to at least have the strength of an adult. Otherwise, it would not be a match for Pallas. When he first entered the valley, he once heard Yuan Lijun mention that the wind-tailed fox that appeared in the valley was just a newborn wind-tailed fox in its infancy. This obviously did not match his speculation. Therefore, Yu Haoran needed to know the true state of the wind-tailed fox. It's between an infant and a juvenile. After thinking carefully, Pallas said in detail, the 9 types of exotic beasts in the demon-sealing secret realm that contain the bloodline of the 9 divine beasts did not directly inherit the bloodline of the divine beasts. Instead, it was during the process of cultivation, either due to an advancement in grade or due to the consumption of some special elixir, which led to the awakening of the divine beast bloodline hidden in their bodies. In the end, they obtained the bloodline inheritance. Chapter 303. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. Getting up and walking down the rock, Yu Haoran glanced at the elemental energy fruit tree and realized that there was still 7 to 8 minutes before the elemental energy fruit ripened. And this period of time was just right for him to set up some special methods in advance. You guys stay here first. Gesturing to everyone, Yu Haoran immediately used his movement technique and started a circle around the elemental energy fruit tree. Stepping into the pinnacle of the gale steps allowed Yu Haoran to truly reach the speed of a gale. Wu Jingjun and the rest were unable to clearly see what Yu Haoran was doing as he circled around the elemental energy fruit tree. But to Thaling, no matter how fast Yu Haoran's speed was or how concealed his technique was, he could still see it clearly. This is the spirit severing array. Every 3 to 4 meters, Yu Haoran would use his elemental energy to envelop a level 9, level 8, level 7, and even level 6 spirit stones. A familiar formation gradually surged into the pagoda's spirit's mind. After Yu Haoran finally used the 5th level, 9th level spirit stone and secretly formed a sword-shaped imprint, Thaling finally remembered the array that he felt familiar with. That's right. It is the spirit severing array that can intercept the opponent's energy to replenish its own consumption. After shooting the last 5th level, 9th level, 5th level spirit stone into the ground, Yu Haoran stopped using his movement technique and replied after catching his breath. Yu Haoran, where did you obtain the spirit severing array? After receiving confirmation from Yu Haoran, Thaling hurriedly asked. In the battlefield of an ancient ruin. Although he didn't understand why Thaling wanted to know the origin of the spirit-severing array, Howard didn't hide anything and told him the truth. Howard, do you still remember the exact location of the battlefield of the ancient ruin? Thaling's voice was filled with a trace of nervousness as he asked. I remember. Howard nodded, but his tone immediately changed as he replied with some trepidation. However, that ancient battlefield is filled with fierce, killing intent. Martial kings will definitely die if they enter. Martial emperors will only be able to protect themselves. Even martial saints will lose their lives in that ancient battlefield if they are not careful. Back then, the reason why he was able to successfully break into that ancient battlefield and safely retreat was entirely because of the Void Spirit Mouse's guidance. Not only did it allow him to avoid the killing intent that was impossible to guard against, it also allowed him to avoid the patrols of the corpses that had lost their minds but were still able to move around and retain nearly half of their strength from his previous life. Howard, after the trial of the Blue Moon Mystery Realm is over, I will teach you a powerful formation. I only hope that after your cultivation breaks through to the Martial Emperor Realm, you can bring me back to the ancient battlefield. Seeing that Howard clearly remembered the exact location of the battlefield, Thaling could not help but heave a sigh of relief. Then, he took a deep breath and suppressed the excitement in his heart. Then, he made the conditions of the exchange. Thaling, there's no need for any exchange at all. Shaking his head, Howard directly rejected Thaling's conditions of exchange and explained. Because in that ancient battlefield, other than the killing intent that is impossible to guard against, there are also many powerful experts that have formed the energy essence after their deaths. The essence formed by flesh and blood can be used to raise one's cultivation and strength. It can also be used to raise one's talent and potential. It can even be used to assist in refining pills. Therefore, after my cultivation breaks through to the Martial Emperor Realm and I have the ability to protect myself, I will definitely re-enter that ancient battlefield. Actually, Howard did not mention one thing clearly. That was that in the ancient battlefield, other than the various benefits that he had just mentioned, there was also an elixir furnace that was left behind by an unknown expert. Moreover, that elixir furnace has already developed spiritual intelligence. Furthermore, the elixir furnace is nourishing an unknown grade and type of elixir. Although he did not know what grade or type of elixir the elixir furnace was nourishing, the elixir aura emitted by the elixir furnace had allowed him to directly advance from the beginner stage of the second grade Martial Emperor Realm to the beginner stage of the third grade Martial Emperor Realm. This was enough to prove that the elixir was terrifying. Therefore, in his previous life, he had been limited by his own strength and had not made sufficient preparations beforehand. As a result, he had not been able to snatch that elixir away. In this life, that ancient battlefield, the elixir furnace of an unknown grade, and the elixir that was nourishing in the furnace were all things that he had to obtain. Voluntary is voluntary, and an exchange is an exchange. You and I must abide by our previous agreement, Thaling said firmly, ignoring Howard's explanation. Up to you. In response, Howard shrugged and replied with an attitude of up to you. However, he was very interested in how much Thaling cared about the soul intercepting formation and how impatient he was to enter the ancient battlefield. Thaling, from your tone just now, I can tell that not only do you know about the soul intercepting formation, but you are also very clear about its origin. I wonder if you have any secrets that you want to reveal to me. Howard, although I do not want to reveal the secrets of heaven and earth about the soul intercepting formation, with your current strength, you will not be able to know about it for the time being. However, the origin of the soul intercepting formation is indeed not trivial. What I can tell you is that the soul intercepting formation is not complete. It is only a quarter of a forbidden formation. If you can obtain the complete forbidden formation, not to mention experts like Wu Zun and Emperor Wu, even gods in the martial god realm would find it difficult to escape the slaughter caused by the forbidden formation. So powerful. The complete soul-intercepting formation could actually kill gods in the martial god realm. After hearing a little about the origin and power of the soul-intercepting formation from Thaling, Yu Haoran was very shocked. Yu Haoran, as long as your cultivation breaks through to the martial emperor realm and you decide to enter the ancient battlefield, I will tell you all the secrets of the soul-intercepting formation. The soul-intercepting formation was not only related to the integrity of the forbidden formation, but also related to the 4 divine weapons needed to set up the formation. More importantly, it concerned an almighty in ancient times who had the means to defy the heavens and change fate. If he did not tell Yu Haoran all these secrets before entering the ancient battlefield, he would definitely not be able to attract Yu Haoran's attention. He would miss out on the opportunity to experience 3 eras. This was also the reason why Thaling had made the promise. Okay, as long as his cultivation broke through to the martial emperor realm, he would tell him all the secrets of the soul-intercepting formation. This was the first time he had made a promise about secrets since he had met Thaling. In this regard, Yu Haoran finally did not feel depressed and aggrieved. After returning to the rock, Yu Haoran did not explain what he had just done to Wu Jingjun and the others. He turned around and looked straight at the primordial energy fruit. He was waiting for the primordial energy fruit to ripen, while waiting for the arrival of Pallas. As the primordial energy fruit was getting closer and closer to ripening, the atmosphere at the scene gradually became tense. However, more powerful disciples had already looked away from the primordial energy fruit on the primordial energy fruit tree. Instead, they were staring at the surroundings of the primordial energy fruit tree. When the primordial energy fruit was 1 minute away from ripening, Yu Haoran nodded to the crowd and then stepped toward the primordial energy fruit tree. In fact, when Yu Haoran and the others arrived at the center of the valley, the people around the primordial energy fruit tree had already noticed it. However, when they saw that Yu Haoran and the others did not intend to go forward to fight for the primordial energy fruit, they ignored him. Now, Yu Haoran suddenly brought people close to the primordial energy fruit tree. Obviously, he wanted to fight for the primordial energy fruit. This made the disciples, who wanted to use the primordial energy fruit to break through to the martial master realm in the future, suddenly nervous. Chapter 304. Sorry, the unit is working overtime. I'm afraid the 4th and 5th chapters will be delayed until after 9 o'clock. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's secret realm. Stop! Just as Yu Haoran was approaching the crowd, he did not seem to have any intention of stopping. A peak 7th grade martial warrior with average talent and potential who needed elemental energy fruits to accelerate his breakthrough to the martial master realm took the initiative to stand out and berate him. Ignoring the disciple who stood out, Yu Haoran continued to approach the elemental energy fruit tree. Scram! Although Yu Haoran did not give any indication, Gong's son Yiming, who was anxious to perform and had been paying attention to Yu Haoran, had already seen through his intentions. Therefore, using his movement technique to pass by Yu Haoran, Gong's son Yiming roared and sent the disciple who was blocking his way flying with a kick. Fortunately, considering that the other party was a junior from the same sect, Gong's son Yiming was more restrained. He only sent the disciple flying with a kick and did not injure him. You guys are too much. After seeing the disciple who was sent flying, a few disciples from the same sect angrily berated as they walked in front of Yu Haoran, intending to demand an explanation from him. Anyone who dares to block the way will die. Because he was 1 step behind Gong's son Yiming, he had lost the opportunity to perform. Wu Jingjun was blaming himself when he saw that there were still people who recklessly wanted to block Yu Haoran. He activated his bloodthirsty physique and fiercely threatened them. Yu Haoran, I know you. I know you are from 100 Qi Gates, Qinyan Peak. Facing Wu Zhengjuan's murderous threat, the few disciples who were blocking the way were extremely nervous. However, one of the disciples who could be considered courageous took the initiative to criticize him. Injuring my sect's disciple for no reason and wanting to monopolize all the elemental energy fruits. Be careful. After the Blue Moon's secret realm closes, I will report to the sect and let the sect elders reason with 100 Qi Gates sect master, Zhao Ji, and Qingyan Peak's peak master, Feng Qingyan. Yu Haoran raised his head and saw that the other party was a disciple from the Ancient Town sect. He immediately understood why the other party would use such an excuse to threaten him. However, Yu Haoran was not someone who was afraid of threats. Zheng Jun, turning his head and glancing at Wu Zhengjun, Yu Haoran's way. Now, fighting for the elemental energy fruit was just a side task. His main goal was to force out the mastermind behind the scenes who had used the bloodlines of the 9 great divine beasts to set up this trap. Therefore, he had neither the time nor the energy to deal with those ordinary disciples who needed the elemental force fruit to quickly break through to the martial master realm. Boom! After receiving Yu Haoran's signal, Wu Zhengjun, who had activated his bloodthirsty physique, was like a murderous blood demon. He directly sent the disciple who had threatened Yu Haoran flying. As his body was sent flying, the disciple who was in midair continuously spat out blood and various internal organs from his mouth. It was clear how ruthless Wu Zhengjuan's attack was. When the disciple fell heavily to the ground, he had already lost all signs of life. Everyone was shocked by Wu Zhengjuan's strength, but at the same time, they were also fearful of Wu Zhengjuan's ruthlessness and ruthlessness. Therefore, the few disciples who were blocking in front of Yu Haoran hurriedly retreated a few steps and gave way to the path to the elemental energy fruit tree. Yu Haoran walked straight to the elemental energy fruit tree and raised his head to look at the 9 fruits that were the size of longans. He turned around and said in an indifferent tone, "Of the 9 elemental energy fruits, I only need 4, and the remaining 5 are yours. Of the 4 elemental energy fruits, 1 was to be handed over to his master, 1 was to be used to refine elixirs, 1 was to be used as a reward for the disciples of Qingyan Peak in the future, and 1 was to be given to Kong Yong-ah." After announcing the ownership of the 9 elemental energy fruits, Yu Haoran ignored everyone's reaction and turned to look at the elemental energy fruit tree. Hearing that Yu Haoran did not monopolize all the elemental energy fruits, but only took 4, the people who were originally dissatisfied with Yu Haoran suddenly calmed down a lot. "Junior Sister Jiang, come here." He did not know if it was an illusion, but just as he stared at the elemental energy fruit tree, he secretly felt a gust of clear cloud blowing past. In the center of the valley, there were many trees, so it was normal for a cool breeze to rise. However, as a mutated wind attribute physique, Yu Haoran could still distinguish between a natural cool breeze and the wind brought about by extreme sports. The cool breeze that rose just now was obviously a cool breeze formed when someone was moving at extreme speed. To be able to move at extreme speed in front of him, and even in front of Thaling, he was afraid that only one of the ancient divine beast kings, Wind-tailed Fox, inherited the bloodline of the 9-tailed celestial fox. Thinking of Kong Yong-ah's wind, crystal body, and the temptation of Wind-tailed Fox, Yu Haoran suddenly had an idea in his heart. "Yu Shixiang, what's the matter?" Walking to Yu Haoran's side, Kong Yong-ah raised her head and asked. Looking down at Kong Yong-ah, Yu Haoran suddenly found that Kong Yong-ah's appearance was not so ordinary. She was not the kind of girl who made people's eyes light up, but the kind of girl who was more interesting the more you looked at her. "Junior Jiang, it's nothing too important. I just hope that you can stand by my side." Yu Haoran put away the messy thoughts in his mind and said with a smile. After hearing Yu Haoran's request, Kong Yong-ah's face flushed red. "Stay by my side, this kind of intimate request, seems to be only made between lovers." However, when she saw Yu Haoran's gaze, from the corner of her eyes, was fixed on the elemental energy fruit on the elemental energy fruit tree, Kong Yong-ah suddenly knew that she was thinking too much just now. That's right. With Yu Haoran's talent and potential, as well as his future achievements, I'm afraid that only a peerless beauty like Lin Mengyao is worthy of him. How could he take a fancy to such an ordinary person like me? Yu Haoran, on the 7th elemental energy fruits branch. After feeling that the breeze was unusual, Howard had already reminded Thowling. Therefore, when Howard called out to Kong Yung-ah, Thowling had been using his divine sense to keep a close watch on the elemental energy fruit tree. Fortunately, the sudden appearance of Kong Yung-ah, who had the wind crystal body, had aroused the interest of wind-tailed fox, which also exposed it to Thowling's divine sense. After receiving Thowling's reminder, Howard did not immediately stare at the seventh elemental energy fruit, so as not to attract the attention of wind-tailed fox. Instead, he pretended to be careless and slowly looked at the seventh elemental energy fruit. Finally, on a leaf of the seventh elemental energy tree branch, Howard finally saw wind-tailed fox. After seeing wind-tailed fox for the first time, Howard had already fallen in love with it. This was because wind-tailed fox, which inherited the bloodline of the ancient divine beast, nine-tailed fox, was completely different from an ordinary wind-tailed fox. Not only was its body smaller, it was only the size of an adult human's finger. Chapter 305. In the Valley of the Blue Moon's Secret Realm. Although he had fallen in love with wind-tailed fox at first sight, Howard was very clear in his heart. Wind-tailed fox, which looked very cute, not only possessed extreme speed, but also possessed the cunning and bloodthirstiness of the nine-tailed fox inheritance. However, he did not relax because of wind-tailed fox's adorable and silly look. However, although he did not let down his guard, Howard did not take the risk to lure and capture it. It was less than 10 seconds before the elemental fruit ripened. In such a short period of time, even if he wanted to use Kong Yung-ah's wind crystal body, it would be difficult to capture wind-tailed fox. Therefore, Howard planned to wait until he had obtained the elemental fruit before thinking of a way to use Kong Yung-ah's wind crystal body to lure wind-tailed fox into the trap. Thowling, help me lock on the first 4 elemental fruits. When they were in the underground karst cave, Pallas had once said that wind-tailed fox was the only one in the Blue Moon's secret realm who could ignore the danger of the elemental fruit helping to break through the realm and grade. It was also the only one who was most likely to fight for the elemental fruit. Considering the extreme speed that wind-tailed fox had unintentionally revealed just now, Howard knew that with his strength and speed, he would not be able to compete with wind-tailed fox. Therefore, he could only ask Thowling for help and let Thowling use the power of divine sense to lock onto the 4 elemental fruits that he needed in advance. Unless wind-tailed fox also has the power of divine sense, and the grade of its condensed soul has reached the martial honorable realm, it is absolutely impossible for it to snatch away the 4 elemental fruits, Thowling said arrogantly. Just as Thowling finished speaking arrogantly, the 9 elemental fruits instantly began to devour a large amount of heaven and earth spiritual energy. The changes of the elemental fruits that were about to ripen immediately attracted the attention of the disciples around the elemental fruit who were hoping to obtain the elemental fruit. They all used their body movement techniques and approached the elemental fruit tree at the fastest speed possible. But when these disciples were less than 5 meters away from the elemental energy fruit trees, a white light instantly appeared in front of the 9 elemental energy fruits. Except for the 4 elemental energy fruits that had been locked by Thowling in advance and were still on the tree fork, the remaining 5 elemental energy fruits suddenly disappeared. Although wind-tailed fox's speed was so fast that the 5 elemental energy fruits seemed to disappear at the same time, each elemental energy fruit was the size of a longan fruit. After swallowing 5 elemental energy fruits in one go, the originally finger-sized wind-tailed fox's body had at least doubled in size, completely exposing it to everyone. Look, that's the wind-tailed fox with the bloodline of the ancient divine beast, the nine-tailed fox. Seeing wind-tailed fox standing on a tree branch with a big belly, a disciple who wanted to catch wind-tailed fox shouted loudly, "So cute, so cute." And when the female disciples at the scene saw wind-tailed fox's cute appearance, Their eyes suddenly lit up, and they couldn't wait to hold wind-tailed fox in their hands and stroke it. Yushi Xiao, I don't know what's going on, but I feel like my body is becoming lighter. Just when wind-tailed fox was completely exposed in front of everyone, Kong Yung-ah's heart surged with a strange feeling. She suddenly felt that between herself and wind-tailed fox, there seemed to be a blood connection. Moreover, just as this special feeling of being connected by blood appeared, she suddenly felt her body begin to become lighter. The sudden change in her body made Kong Yung-ah a little panic, and she couldn't help but ask Yu Haoran for help. Junior sister Jiang, don't be nervous, don't be afraid, and don't deliberately control the feeling in your heart. Yu Haoran comforted as he gestured to Thaling to put away the 4 elemental energy fruits. Yushi Xiang, I'll be fine, right? The feeling of her body becoming lighter made Kong Yung-ah suddenly think of the ghost stories that she heard from her mother when she was young. It seemed that before a person died, their body would become lighter and lighter. Seeing the somewhat panicked Kong Yung-ah, Yu Haoran knew that she was too inexperienced, and her character was too weak. It would be difficult for her to accept the current changes in her body in a short period of time. Therefore, not only did Yu Haoran patiently comfort her, but he also directly changed the way he addressed her. Jingya, the changes in your body are not a bad thing, but instead, it's an opportunity for you to be completely reborn. An opportunity for me to be reborn. Kong Yung-ah asked in disbelief. Nodding his head, Yu Haoran directly held Kong Yung-ah's hand and said with a solemn expression, Jingya, please believe me. Believe that I will never hurt you. Yushi Xiang Yu, what are you trying to do? Kong Yung-ah temporarily forgot about the changes in her body when Yu Haoran suddenly held her left hand. She blushed shyly and asked with a trembling voice, Junior sister Jiang, that cute exotic beast on the tree branch is the wind-tailed fox that Run Yunda and Yuan Lijun wanted to use you to capture. This wind-tailed fox is different from ordinary wind-tailed foxes. Not only does it contain the bloodline of the ancient divine beast, the 9-tailed celestial fox, but it has also awakened the bloodline inheritance. At this point, Yu Haoran raised his head and looked at the wind-tailed fox that was still standing on the tree branch and staring at Kong Yung-ah. The wind-tailed fox that has awakened the bloodline inheritance of the ancient divine beast will at least become a powerful exotic beast at the peak of the 9th stage of the exalted realm in the future. It might even become a divine beast that can advance to the divine realm. How is that possible? Looking at the wind-tailed fox that was staring at her, Kong Yung-ah found it hard to imagine that such a cute and small wind-tailed fox actually had the potential to advance to the divine realm. How is that not possible? Yu Haoran suddenly said in a serious tone. However, it won't be easy for the wind-tailed fox to become a 9th stage of the exalted realm exotic beast, or even a divine beast in the future. That's because it needs a special physique that can complement its bloodline. At this point, Yu Haoran used his Yuan Li to cut Kong Yung-ah's left finger and squeezed out a drop of blood as he continued to explain. The special physique that can allow the wind-tailed fox to awaken its bloodline inheritance is called the wind crystal body. He wrapped the drop of blood squeezed out from Kong Yung-ah's finger with his Yuan Li and flicked it directly to the wind-tailed fox on the tree branch. He also instructed Wu Zhijun, Gong Sun Yiming, and Meng Yujie to block those who wanted to capture the wind-tailed fox alive. After that, Yu Haoran said to Kong Yung-ah in a very excited tone, Jingya, you're the one with the wind crystal body. What? I actually have a special physique. Compared to the fate with the wind-tailed fox, Kong Yung-ah found it harder to believe that she actually had a special physique. This was because ever since she participated in the talent and potential test, and revealed the most ordinary physique, she had always thought that she was just an ordinary person. The highest achievement she could achieve in her life was the peak of the martial master realm. This was also the main reason why she wanted to compete for the elemental fruit. Now that she suddenly heard that she actually had a special physique, how could she believe it? Jingya, I'm afraid that it's hard for you to believe that you have a special physique based on my words alone. However, you don't have to be afraid of the changes that are coming. As long as you face it calmly, you'll know that I'm not lying. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.